We're here, man. We made it. We made it to the draft. We did it. We're in Tampa Bay. We're the home of the 2025 NFL draft.
I'm excited, man. This has been a long time. It feels like takes forever to get here. And then all of a sudden when the week becomes and we get here, the boots in the ground, we're fishing, we're walking, we're top golfing, we're whatever it is.
Yeah.
Boom. All of a sudden the draft is here. The draft is starting. I'm excited.
So I had quite the bike accident, which I don't know if anyone can. The sunglasses are and the bandana are very handy. But I tore my rotator cuff, but who won Topgolf? Torn rotator cuff. Just for the record, I just want to make sure that's.
Oh, and it wasn't like a win; it was an obliteration. If we're just being honest with ourselves here.
Yeah,
he did. He whacked, and it's kind of BS, but you put 10% power, and it was just straight shot. Straight shot. Half
shot. I had a women's driver.
Yeah.
I busted out I had a ladies driver. I was going half speed. I could only go half and half because you need your rotator cuff, your right rotator cuff. You need it to go all the way up. I can only go up halfway and I can't finish. So I was just doing half drives into the middle target.
Did your surgeon say this is all okay?
This is not a no. None of this is okay. I wasn't supposed to leave. Yeah. The MRI was supposed to be scheduled this week. And I was like, no. And they're like, really? Because, and I was like, okay, so let me explain how this week works. Okay. We have all these guys from PlayerProfiler, Rosterwatch, bring them all down to this location. We've been planning this for a year. It's the big event for the company. Everyone's looking forward to it. There's no way I'm not going. I don't care what the doctor says, okay? Because, we got the guys on the couch. Let's just bring in the guys on the couch. Look at these guys. We got these guys right here. Check it out.
Hey, how's it going, Player Profiler?
We're ready to go. Rahul, get in here, dog. Let's scooch in, baby. We got a whole party. We're ready to roll.
It's going to be great.
This is my Super Bowl. I ignored my family and friends for months just for today.
What pick are we excited for the most?
I'm a Pats fan, so I'll be human being the Patriots. I can't wait for them to bore me with an offensive lineman. I can't wait for them to disappoint me with a second-round wide receiver that is likely to be a bust. Here we go.
That's very Patriots of you, Rahul.
Yeah.
What you looking forward to?
I'm a Seattle fan, and I know they need an offensive line, but they're going to draft a secondary safety.
You need
classic. Or trade down. We might not even have a first round. Yeah. So let's see.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised with the trade down. And speaking of the Niners, I'm kind of excited to see just who they pick. I think 11 could be a very fun pick tonight. So
the Niners are a team that low-key need everything. You think they're a contender, but if you actually look at the roster, it's just riddled with holes. It's all paint job, and that paint job is by Brock Purdy, which is something depending on who you talk to. So not great if you are from the Bay Area. So really, you should get offensive line too. Trent Williams is 1,000 years old, and he's your best offensive lineman, and that's not great. So,
well, how are we feeling down in the basement, fellas? We got Bradley and Billy down there.
What's up, boys? How you doing up there? We're excited for the draft tonight. Bradley and I are going to be running the projections desk, so live projections as the picks come in. We'll be down here dicing up the numbers, getting ready to give everybody what they're looking for, fantasy impact and which team they're landing on.
Yeah, Billy, which player are you looking forward to the most?
Man, you have to go with chalk here with Ashton Gentry. This guy is just amazing. We have him comped as LaDainian Tomlinson, and this is just a guy that's going to come in the NFL and immediately make an impact. I got to watch him in person at the Ducks game when they barely beat Boise State, and so I'm really excited to see which team he lands on and who he can disrupt here in the NFL.
Yeah, for me, it's Tet McMillan. There's just been such a wide range of projections of where he's going to go. Some have mocked him as high as 5 or 6. Some have mocked him. Heck, Matt Kelly and I were talking. He might not make it in the first round. So we'll see, Billy. This is a player that, has gotten some Drake London comps. He's a big-bodied wide receiver. Lots of teams need a wide receiver, but is he going to be the right fit is a major question. So Tet McMillan for me.
See where they land, boys. We'll give you those live projections as they come in.
Love it, fellas. Absolutely love it.
Who's on?
We're now we've gone dark.
Dark.
Is it main desk? All right, we're back.
Some technical difficulties there at the main desk. We're going to be working through.
Well, we are 1 minute away from the draft kicking off in Green Bay. Yes, the Player Profiler team is here in Tampa Bay. Pretty much the Bay as far away as you can get. You know, as a Packers fan, a little jealous of some of my comrades who are over in Green Bay, Wisconsin, but you can't beat the beach here. We've had a great time building up the camaraderie here at Player Profiler, getting ourselves ready. There's lots of great conversations happening as we're preparing for this draft, and also just getting the projections right from our end. You know, Billy and I stayed up last night discussing some of the players, the possibilities, what their ranges of outcomes could be, and testing out even like if a player lands, in a particular landing spot, was that going to help or hurt their draft stock in our fantasy lineups? So we're looking forward to seeing it come live here in the next couple minutes. We'll be getting picks in. It is 8:00. It is time. It is go time.
It is go time. It is absolutely go time. They mentioned Ted McMillan. Ted McMillan's become a polarizing player. I have him as the best receiver in this class. Todd McShay has him at wide receiver 50.
No. Player 50. Player 50 wide receiver.
Did I say wide receiver 50?
Yeah. Player 50 wide receiver 7. It's still, it still holds some weight there. I mean, a wide receiver.
It's essentially wide receiver 70.
72. 70 works too. But when the consensus is 1 or 2, and you got him at 50 overall and wide receiver 7 behind the Jalen Knowles of the world, it stands out. But it's also something we've heard the last month, whether people like to hear it or not. It's like you hear from inside these buildings that there's a handful of people that absolutely love Tedero McMillan, and all they see is Mike Evans and Drake London. And then you have the crowd that goes, it is disrespectful to Drake London and Mike Evans to even reference his name in the same sentence. But again, he's a junior with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and he's a very good receiver, not as athletic as many portray him to be because he played volleyball. And that's the other thought is like, well, he played volleyball. He's kind of a softie. And then you have the other side that goes, he played volleyball. Man, he can go up and catch any football. So it's a very interesting.
Do they catch the ball in volleyball?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think they do.
Wait, aren't they?
I think
is the whole thing about volleyball is you're not supposed to grip the ball. You're supposed to deflect it off your hands.
Do you think a safety, like a good safety, probably be a good volleyball player, right? Or a good volleyball player be a good safety?
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a defensive back, skill set, is it not?
Go up and smack it down.
I mean, you got to jump up in the air. You got to use your length. You got to use your arms. You got to be able to extend. You got to be able to do certain things that certainly translate to the position. I think that the whole thing with Ted McMillan, he's going to go in the first round of this draft, and he's going to
well, not according to one of our analysts here on the table.
I know that Matt Kelly has Ted McMillan falling out of the first round in his inaugural mock draft for the Huddle Report.
Are we talking about that? Yeah, I did the Huddle Report, and I went over it and over and over and over, and I just couldn't figure out who the hell was going to draft him, knowing that these guys that are super plugged in like Todd McShay, they're talking to teams, and that's a big part of how they build their big boards is they talk to teams and they figure out what these teams want to do.
McShay has been
we've seen
at 50, and
at player 50, not wide receiver 50.
But if you wide receiver 50,
he said that right off the rip.
Right. I think also though when you hear McShay talk, he's also said before, whenever the news came out that Jacksonville was not going to be taking Mason Graham and they were going after an offensive playmaker, the thought was, is it Ashton Jeanty or is it Ted McMillan?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I mean, things are all over the board. It's the draft, dude. This is Christmas morning. This is the best, one of the best nights of the year. We're so happy to be here with everybody. We're going to see what happens. But I would say, we're going to see Ted probably go off the board, I would say, within the first half.
I think the over-under on him is closer to 20.
Yeah, they're just, Dallas at 12, I think makes sense.
Why? If you're Dallas, you already have CeeDee Lamb. The last thing you're going to do is use another
it's-
first-round pick on a wide receiver that you don't need.
It's the T. Higgins corollary. T. Higgins was what, the 33rd pick overall, and he goes in there with Chase.
Exactly. I think Ted McMillan will go with the 33rd pick. That's the whole point. T. Higgins was a second-round pick. DK Metcalf was a second-round pick.
He would be kind of sick. I mean, to be honest with you, if you went 34 to the Giants, play with Millie Neighbors, it would be kind of sick.
It's very difficult when you figure out what these teams' needs are and all the hunger and the thirst for edge rusher and all these incredible interior defensive linemen.
You think it's 16, the Cardinals? Is that just
They just went there. I went through this whole exercise, Alex. They just drafted a wide receiver in the first round.
The Seahawks at 18, the Bucks at 19 could all be landing spots. I think
For Matthew Golden, sure. Yeah, Houston, a good landing spot for Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah, baby.
Right, but not Ted McMillan. I love Ted McMillan. He's the best receiver in this class. But I learned a long time ago that what the metrics and what our analysis says about a player is not what NFL teams think.
Mm-hmm. I learned that the first year I did the big board. Like, it's like your analysis isn't always the same, and that's just the game of the. It's a game in the big board competition on the Huddle Report too. But I think that's why you see Todd McShay make the stand, because as we've listened to, he said, like, you know, when you're on the big networks, you're in the big. You have to be pretty in line with the NFL. Or remember a couple of years ago when I had Trey Smith sitting there. Right, Trey Smith was sitting on the board for what, 4 rounds?
McShay's just like, he's like, man, I
player.
don't want my best available to be here.
That's
like
the whole theory. And now Trey Smith's gonna be the highest paid guard in football.
And now we have Roger Goodell up at the stand announcing that the NFL draft for 2025 is officially about to open. Going through his speech here in Green Bay. And I cannot believe, as I'm looking at this, I'm sure most of you guys are watching us here on a second screen, but gosh, man, if you're not, it is just a sea of people. There are
a sea of hillbillies.
I was not expecting this many people.
Well, we looked at going to Green Bay. The reason we're in Tampa Bay is not because I made the mistake and booked Tampa Bay thinking it was in Tampa Bay instead of Green Bay. It wasn't a mix-up. We did know. We did know.
It's extremely intentional.
The draft was going to be in Green Bay, and we looked for houses that could support us, and we couldn't find a single one that wasn't just exorbitantly expensive.
And so
we
Matt got the fishiest house in all of Florida, man, with an awesome dock right out the back. We've already caught 4 fish. This is incredible. Every year it gets better and better and better as far as the Player Profiler Draft House, and we're so pleased to be here with you guys and bringing you this awesome content through every single pick of the NFL draft this year, and in between catching a bunch of fish.
And the lock for number 1 is Cam Ward.
Oh, of course.
Of course. Do you like Cam Ward?
Yes. Now, the discussion has been with a lot of these guys, where would they be in comparison to last year's class, right? Well, like
the quarterbacks.
As far as the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And there's people who say that Cam Ward would be anywhere from quarterback 4 to quarterback 6.
6, yep. Behind Nix and JJ.
Of last year's class. I think Cam Ward, what he brings the true like football guys and the true scouts and everybody really who might not be looking at the analytical profile or might not be looking at the rest of it and just be thinking about what do we actually need here as a team. And look, Borgonzi and as a first-year GM.
Nate Borgonzi?
He's what did I say his name wrong?
No.
Borgonzi. It's like his wife mows his lawn. He's actually taking he's actually now at this point, he's a lot of these GMs, man, if I were him, do you know what I would do? I would take Travis Hunter, I'd take Abdul Carter, and I would wait till next year. I think that next year's draft class with Nussmeier, Drew Aller, Lenore Sellers, all these guys, man, like I would kind of wait and hold out for that, because with these GMs, you're generally attached to to the quarterback, right? And if I can build this year,
I can go next year. I can get my quarterback, and at that point, I sort of have my not a get out of jail free card, but if we have a bad season this season, I can at least attach my name to that quarterback.
Get out of sucking for free.
If you take Cam Ward this year and you're no good this year, you're attached to Cam Ward, and you're like, well, how are you going to fix him this next season, right? I think when they met with Cam Ward, when they've talked to him, we've had a chance to interact with him. What you've gotten to realize about him is he's an absolute dog. He's a dude who's going to come in there and he's going to demand accountability from the very start. He's a very, very, very serious person. And Cody, I know that you watch a ton of Miami. You've grown up a Miami Hurricanes fan. We could talk, and you and I have talked for the last 3 months about what Cam Ward brings. As far as your thoughts about what he actually brings on the actual football field when he comes in as a starter in the NFL, he's going to be a day one starter. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think first you brought up the Borgonzi correlation to drafting a quarterback, and I think it was Brian Billick that would always say the minute you draft that quarterback is the minute your clock starts, right? It's the minute that
Speaking of which, the Titans are now on the clock.
It's the minute that the sand timer gets flipped over, right, and starts running out on you. And that's the thing, is that we're talking about this quarterback a year ago. How many guys? 6 guys going in the top 15, right? Cam Ward probably is right there next to Bo Nix. Bo Nix probably gets drafted ahead of him. And then the Raiders probably get Cam Ward with that, what was it, the 13th overall selection? That's probably where he ends up going. Because remember, the Raiders wanted quarterback last year, but they got boxed out of it. So that's just for connection, I think, where he ends up going. As far as Cam Ward goes, like, the guy has clear talent. Like, it's pretty apparent what he can be and what he could be. But it's not a guy that came in day one and was just an automatic, he's got the arm talent. A lot of these guys in the 7-on-7 era right now, and he's kind of the older statesman of this new era, I guess I'd say, where they're learning from like the Mahomeses of the world, right? They're learning from Aaron Rodgers and the awkward releases and stuff. But I think more than that, and I think one thing from this class that these 2 quarterbacks, and I'll say 2, is Shedeur and Cam, is their mental makeup. And you see a lot because of these 2 guys being recorded off the football field. Their mental makeup, I think, is stronger than the majority of this new generation. And that's going to be a place where Cam and Shedeur can both withstand a dumpster organization for a year or 2. But to the same correlation we talked to a couple of years ago with the Detroit Lions, it's not about putting the quarterback on top of garbage. It's about building up the garbage into gold and then putting the quarterback on top, which is what they did with Goff. And that's kind of what allowed him to be what he was. So I think I would agree with you. If I was in that spot, I think the pick would have to be Travis Hunter, because it's the best pure raw talent in the draft.
Or Abdul Carter.
Sure.
I prefer. I think if you are starting,
it's 6 and 1 half.
If you're starting from the ground up, and I want to build from the inside out. That's the best way to build a franchise. Yeah. And I would go Abdul Carter. I would.
No, I get it, and I mean, it makes all the sense in the world to me, especially with the fact that we'll see what happens tonight. That's what we're going to talk about. Like, is Shedeur saying, like, is he falling to? Like, dude, we're about to find out. I can't believe it. We've talked about this for so long. Is Shedeur falling to 21 to the Steelers?
Is he falling out of the first round?
Is he going out of there? Like, might the Saints take Jackson Dart at 9? I don't think that they will.
Well, Jackson Dart, it's been decided, is going before Shedeur.
I'm not sure I'm not sure I think that there's a real scenario wherever Shedeur falls to 21, Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, they say, look, we're not trading up for him.
Guys,
we're not
coming to you. We're locked up. We got hey guys, our stream locked up. We're coming to you.
All right, we are still on the clock here, and right now we're getting egregious comps right now to Cam Ward, already to Patrick Mahomes.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's not even day one.
I understand they need something to talk about. And I understand Cam Ward has talent. And the pick is in.
The pick is in.
The pick is in. We'll see it break here. But it is definitely a crime, I think, to call someone Patrick Mahomes before they're even picked. Before they're even officially picked, they're Patrick Mahomes. Ridiculous.
And since we're here, the mic's in my hand, and we're waiting, I'm just going to say it. Cam Ward has been, I think, the number 1 quarterback on Bust Watch that I've seen in like the last 4 years.
Wow.
I mean, realistically, I have a lot of red flags. I know he has natural talent, but we see this year in and year out with these quarterbacks who have good arm talent. They're productive, but they can't see the field. And let's just say it, they play schoolyard bullshit. And when they get to the NFL, that doesn't work as well. He's not as athletic as a lot of these quarterbacks to hold the ball. So him going 1 overall, it feels like Tennessee is still going to be Tennessee when we're talking about them again in
So are you
2025.
comparing Cam Ward to Ryan Leaf then?
No, but yes. No.
I don't know. I think that I understand the comparisons there and like what's in his game, but I think what I love about Cam Ward is his stats just get better every single year. More passing yards, less interceptions, better completion percentage, and a true ability, especially when you hear reports from his coaches that he really does study a lot. He is always grinding the film, and I think that that's the type of stuff that really does translate to the next level. It'll take some time. It is
We'll see. I
still
mean,
the
like,
Tennessee Titans.
In Miami, he had like a stacked offensive.
Yeah, that's
Hey
what I'm saying.
guys, we got breaking news.
Like Damien Martinez, he could just like.
We got breaking news
Looks
that
like we're going to Bradley
trading
and
number 2, the 4th round pick and a 6th round pick to the Jags. The Jags are trading number 5, a 2nd rounder, a 4th rounder, and their 2026 1st rounder to the Browns. So that is the big move. That's the Travis Hunter move. That's what we are looking for. The Titans have selected Cam Ward with the 1st overall pick. And now the Jaguars are in position to take Travis Hunter at number 2. This is the first move, big move by the GM, the new GM in Jacksonville to make a splash, to make a move alongside Brian Thomas. Remember, the Jaguars drafted Brian Thomas in the 1st round last year, and now they are in a position to be selecting another wide receiver and cornerback, Travis Hunter. So we're going to need a moment to put that into the projections.
Yeah, why don't we just jump right into Cameron Ward, though?
Sure.
So we got the 1st overall pick is selected here from a fantasy perspective. We never project the full season of 17 games. We always project either 1 or 2 missed games throughout the season. So take that for what it's worth. We have him here at PlayerProfiler projected for 16 games, 495 attempts, 316 completions. That's a 64% completion percentage. It gets him actually to 3,400 yards, Bradley, just over actually, and 18.8 touchdowns. Comes in as the quarterback number 26 in the original run. How do you feel about the ranking?
I think that's fair. There's still a lot of missing pieces for the Titans. They could fill in with a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1B next to Calvin Ridley. That's something that I think they still need to address. But, with the Titans, this would be the move. They have the head coach who previously worked with Cincinnati, and we saw the Cincinnati blueprint of Joe Burrow, T. Higgins being selected in round 1 and then in round 2. So I am anticipating a pairing. We did also see last night Tyler Lockett sign as a free agent with the Tennessee Titans. Billy and I went back and forth a little bit about where Tyler Lockett is in terms of his projection. We landed somewhere between 13 and 15% target share. He is going to be a rock, but I think there's still space for a wide receiver 2 to land in round 2 if that's how the Titans want to go.
Yeah, and that is, of course, the ultimate variable right now, right? We don't know who the extra target is going to be in this offense. We are projecting there is going to be another wide receiver that's going to be on this team, and hence why we have Tyler Lockett so low right now. You might log on to your site and see, hey, most places have him at 18, maybe 17%. We are projecting another receiver landing here during the draft, and we want to make sure that we're accounting for that during our projections.
So we are going to turn the page to the Jacksonville Jaguars as they are acquiring the number 2 pick. Mentioned that Hunter is going to probably play alongside Brian Thomas. But what this means for the Cleveland Browns is it puts Jerry Jeudy very much back in play as like the clear wide receiver 1. Last year, Jeudy averaged a 25% target share across the season. He was the wide receiver 1. He played mostly on the outside, which was a departure from what he was doing previously in Denver. So this is a big move for the Jacksonville Jaguars, making a splash right out of the gate.
Fellas,
Earth shaking.
this is big.
I mean, here Billy saying it's like, well, I think it's a big move. I think, like, dude, this is not big move. This is earth shaking. This is maniacal. This is diabolical. This is James Gladstone coming, taking a page out of the Les Snead book, saying "F them picks" and going to get Travis Hunter. Are you kidding me?
This is the movie Draft Day? Is this what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, it's.
What if they move up to get a running back?
Do we know the exact compensation?
It's right here. I just put it in front of you.
Okay, so the exact compensation. So the Jaguars get the 2025. So they get number 2. They get a 4th round pick. They get a 6th round pick. The Browns get number 5. They get a 2026 first. They get from the Jags their 2nd round pick and their 4th round pick. So.
Now the question is, do the Browns move down again? And do they allow somebody to come up and get Genty?
My goodness. And so now what happens is we start to think about, is it Ashton Genty to the Cleveland Browns, or
The Bears
do the Bears come up
Raiders?
to 4 with the Patriots to get Ashton Genty to where
Dude, this is so ridiculous.
to where now the Bears at
one pick in.
the Bears at 10 could likely still get one of their targets, right? Like, or wait, the Patriots could likely still get a left tackle. They can still get their.
They can
possibly
still
their
get
left
Banks
tackle.
at 10.
They might still be able to get Kelvin Banks or Armand Membu at 10. And at
They're
the
not
very,
getting Membu. They're getting Banks.
At the very least, there's been all this talk about Banks at 6.
Yeah, that's just the boomerang of idiom.
But you
So
can
is
get
it
Banks.
possible we only get one pick right, Cam Ward, and that's it?
Could.
All of our mock drafts are down the tubes.
They're all gone.
Everybody. But dude, here's the good thing. It's not just us.
Right.
It's everybody.
I didn't have this. I didn't have
Travis
this on
Hunter is
my-
the official selection.
Dude. Well,
Right?
hey, Matt,
No.
what do we think of
Feel
Gladstone?
good for him. Man.
What do you think? Dude, he comes in as the young-faced GM. What is he, 31 years old? He comes in, and this is his first move with Liam Cohen.
Panics.
Dude, what
This guy's got
dude,
balls of stone.
Panics.
I'm interested in the projection desk about what they say. But what is it, dude? You add in Travis Hunter, who they're going to play on offense. You add him in. What does this mean for Brian Thomas Jr.?
Well, let's kick it to the couch and see what the couch has to say.
Like,
He isn't really a.
All right, so
All right.
Jaguars pick in. We have a consensus here on the couch. We expect it to be Travis Hunter. So we'll just go ahead and start the conversation. How much production is he having on offense, guys?
I mean, I think the ideal use for him is at least 75 to 80% use on offense. And then if they use him on key downs like 3rd down and on the 2-minute drill, I think they're going to get the most out of them. And then spending this much compensation is because they know as much as anyone that they're drafting 2 separate players. Moreover, you have Trevor Lawrence right now, who has another weapon on top of that. And I think right now in fantasy, whatever you're in, best ball, Trevor Lawrence stocks should have gotten significantly higher from you. And ironically, my comp for Travis Hunter has been a Brian Thomas Jr. because he may not be as refined at baby Travis Hunter because he's smaller. He may not be as refined, but you can clearly see who the superior athlete is on the field at all times.
I'm going to say it now, and this isn't even a hot take, but I just think Travis Hunter is Travis Hunter. I like the comp. I think I
That's
agree
fair.
with the type
That's
of
fair.
usage.
Mm.
I agree with the type of usage there. I think at the very least, this is a guy who's going to come in the red zone. He's going to be scoring touchdowns. He's going to come in on the important downs. And I mean, the guy came out and said he would retire if he can't play on both sides of the ball. And this type of compensation to come in, he's playing as many snaps as possible on offense. And I really don't think that we should have been devaluing him in these pre-draft dynasty rookie drafts, really at all. He's still Travis Hunter. He's going to give a ton of production. And I'm very, very excited to see what this man can bring to the next level.
And go ahead. I was going to say, really, in the people hating on him, you want to talk about egregious comps. People copying him to Devin Hester. I'm like, Devin Hester wasn't even good on defense, buddy. Like, I don't know what we're talking about.
So I think the biggest thing is injuries, right?
Yes.
So the more plays he plays,
Mhm.
more prone to injuries. I think that's where it's going to be a tricky
Mhm.
proposition. So if you're in the dynasty draft, would you pick him, or if you pick Genty?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Genty's still the 102 in Superflex, 101 in single QB. I know that that's still a hot take, but that's where I'm at. So picks coming in. Let's see if it's official.
While we're
Maybe.
waiting, the real question is like
Maybe.
103
What if
in
they
Dynasty
just throw a curveball
drafts.
to the left?
What?
Yes.
Come on, read it, buddy.
He's going.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Keep it moving.
Yep.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
Oh.
it is. So that's the
Wow.
case there. So the
Mhm.
102, they send up a ton of haul, and they're getting a both sides player. It's pretty exciting stuff for Jacksonville. Duval County is very excited right now.
Yeah, do you
Yep.
want to do the Duval impression? now?
No. Duval. Yeah, do Liam Cohen. And that's another thing is like I think Liam Cohen is doing a very good job at setting himself up for success. And I don't know how much say he has in this pick, but he has to be thrilled that now you have 2 targets and at least more help on
They signed
defense.
De'Ami Brown too.
Yeah.
So that's like, and they paid him $10 million for his contract. So that's like significant.
That's
amount for
almost
a lot.
Saquon money.
Yeah. I
We do see Frangus here in the chat saying that he was announced as a defensive back. I'm not sure if that means really too much, but it is,
Interesting.
technical. That is obviously where he's going to be playing first, but I still expect at least some fantasy relevance and decent production from the wide receiver position.
Really, you have to ask yourself, is Brenton Strange and De'Ami Brown better than Travis Hunter on
no.
offense?
No.
Okay.
Hell no.
That's what you have to
And
ask.
the question is, again, also, are you happy with 5 targets a game for Travis Hunter?
No, should be happy. I think it's just more value on
I
offense.
mean, like, I feel like he's not going to play on the run play. So if they're going to call like a run,
That's what, yeah. Like, I'm fine with 5 high value targets.
Yeah, and well, I guess I'm fine. It needs to be. That's just not enough for me.
Right.
It's just, but I think another thing we got to consider is that you have Trevor Lawrence now. Trevor Lawrence is someone that you've invested draft capital, and then again financially. Like that's to me even points even more that like if he's getting just 5 targets, I think you're underutilized him. I think he's just more valuable on offense. I'm not saying you shouldn't use him on defense, but I mean for what this team needs. You need to get Trevor Lawrence and nip those questions in the bud for your franchise.
Travis Hunter better start reading all the playbooks right now. He has to read both offense and defensive plays.
Yeah, and
He's
defense
gonna-
adjustments are
Dude,
difficult
he's
to
not gonna
learn.
sleep.
Yeah.
He's used to it. He's used to it. I believe in this kid. I really do.
Another big positive we're not talking about either is Travis Etienne. There was a big rumor that they were thinking about getting Genty at 5 if they didn't make that move. Right now, Travis Etienne is still alive. Tank Bigsby is still alive. So if you've invested in them in Dynasty, if you've made those picks in Origins draft or in Flex 4, I think that is an exploitable player right now. That could be something. I know he had a disappointing year, but it's new offense and a new day in Jacksonville. So maybe those shares have a little bit more value.
Yeah, and good thing to mention the fast draft right now. While you're watching the draft, we've already had 2 fantasy relevant players taken. So go ahead and sign up for fast draft. The QR code is here on the banner. You can use promo code draft, get yourself some bonus bucks. Exciting stuff going on there. Get into the Origins chaos now. I am curious. I don't know if they're even ready. Bradley, Billy, what they're thinking of projections right now. I really have
That is
to know.
interesting.
We are ready. We are ready to roll. We've put in Cam Ward and we've also put in Travis Hunter into the projections as a wide receiver. We've come to the conclusion that it's about a 22% target share initially. There is a little bit of space for maybe someone a late day 3 spot for Jacksonville, but the controversy is going to be Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter. It's still Brian Thomas in our projections, 25% target share, but Hunter is in this tweener spot where he could be wide receiver 20. He could be wide receiver 35. It depends on is this the touchdowns and maybe a little tweaking of the target share. Billy?
Yeah, we actually went back and forth on this projection here, and Bradley and I have a bit of a difference. He's a little bit higher in the original run than I am. And we're actually very similar in terms of target share, like you mentioned, close to that 22%. We both have them in that 78 to 82 reception range. It's going to break down to the yards per reception here on this team. And like Bradley said, the total touchdowns in that percentage, because we're right now a difference of about 12 wide receiver spots in the rankings. And so it's really going to break down to the numbers once we get in the season. And so I do agree. if they add another body in this receiving core, what this is going to look like, how it'll affect the mix. But as of right now, a very strong candidate right now to be the number 2 wide receiver on this team.
There had been rumblings coming into the draft that the Jaguars were going to make a splash. Whether they were going to move up to get Travis Hunter was a major question. However, Ian Rappaport is saying that the Jaguars had 0 conversations with Travis Hunter since the combine. So this was a surprise to Travis Hunter reportedly. It really bolsters Trevor Lawrence. It gives him an opportunity to elevate his game. Frankly, you're surrounding a former number 1 overall pick, a player who on Player Profiler is comped to Peyton Manning. And we have the 3rd pick here coming. This is not a surprise. The Giants select Penn State edge Abdul Carter. It was clearly an elite tier of these 3. Consensus, it was going to be Cam Ward, it was going to be Travis Hunter number 2, and then Abdul Carter at number 3. No surprises there. So check in terms of how the top 3 is shaking out from a player perspective, but definitely a major shakeup in the Jacksonville-Cleveland trade.
Back to the main desk.
Fellas.
Big, massive, large, huge.
So how much defensive back is Travis Hunter going to play?
I think this is going to be one of the rare situations where he's going to be and this might help with
one of the rare situations, the rarest of all rare situations, the only situation.
Yes, where Gladstone is young, everyone's young here, and the door is going to be wide open for him to play both ways because they need a number 2 and they need a number 1 corner because they had no cornerbacks on the roster from last year with better than a 65 PFF grade. They're absolutely horrible on the back end, and they need some dynamism on offense.
I'm sorry, though. I mean, there's nothing about Travis Hunter as a wide receiver that says number 2 to me.
No, I know, but you get what I'm saying. They needed a 2. Brian Thomas, I think Brian Thomas would be like
this is a nightmare. I don't know what Tennessee. I don't know. Like, look, man, Tennessee fans right now. I'm sure you're happy about getting Cam Ward. You got your quarterback of the future. I understand, man. But right after this, in the AFC South, like things just got really hairy.
Yeah,
things got really hairy dealing with Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence being able to throw the football to Brian Thomas Jr. and to Travis Hunter. This is going to be an interesting thing to follow as far as how this goes. I didn't hear what these guys were saying in the I didn't hear what they were saying in the projection desk about as far as how the target share was going to go. And we have plenty of time to talk about this, what it means for the rest of the guys on the roster, what it means for, a Britton Strange or the rest of this, what it means. I heard Jason, everybody talking about, well, now that there's no Ashton Genty, it's like we're now, dude, we're Neo in the Matrix now. If we're Travis Etienne.
So is this better? Okay. Like wherever you had Travis Hunter in the rookie rankings, does he go up or down now?
He can't go up. He's already at the top.
I'm not sure. Well, no, because there was a level of thinking before.
Hey guys, we're back. Some technical difficulties. We are answering that question of whether this is good for fantasy from moving from a void to getting a landing spot in Jacksonville. I think this is actually not a great landing spot. You wanted Travis Hunter to have the opportunity to be the number 1 wide receiver, and now he is probably the 1B in this Jacksonville offense. And there's also questions of whether Trevor Lawrence is going to be enough of an elevator. And also, you don't move up to get a guy like Travis Hunter to only use him for a little bit. That's why one of the reasons we're pretty aggressive in terms of the 22% target share, because you don't make this move if you're Jacksonville to not have him play and to not throw him the ball.
There's also a lot of variables right now. I mean, we're hearing a lot of scuttle about Travis Etienne. What's his involvement going to be in this passing game? How involved are the tight ends going to be in this passing game? Do we see them, really take a step back even more from Gabriel Davis and Denami Brown and just funnel this offense through Brian Thomas and through Travis Hunter and then sprinkle in the running back? So there is a lot of upside here for Travis Hunter inside of this offense. They moved up for a reason. They made the splash in the NFL of the last decade that I can remember. This is something that you don't take lightly when you're doing projections, because they're going to spend all this capital and use all of these resources on this player. They intend to use them, and they're going to do just that in 2025.
Patriots pick is in, so we'll wait for that for a second. If Genty ends up getting selected here at 5 for the Browns have a massive hole at the running back position. We were looking at what available touches exist with now Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford not on the team presently. Genty is very much in play at 5 for the Browns. We'll see if they go that route or if they go a different route, but it would be a nuts landing spot for the Cleveland Browns and Kevin Stefanski.
Man, imagine going from Nick Chubb from all these years directly to Genty. I mean, there is just not even just the amount of touches that are available, but also the amount of available targets for the running back position on this offense if they do select him. I mean, 21 available running back targets is 24% of the total available for this team. I mean, this would be a dream landing spot from a fantasy perspective, in my opinion.
Yeah, you want to be targeted. Look, this would secure, I think, Genty as the 101 overall in our fantasy drafts, no matter what. That's how I would approach it, even if some of the other running backs like Trevion Henderson, Judkins, or others get backfields to themselves. Still, that would keep Genty clearly at the 101. There were conversations about, if there were other running backs who got very good landing spots, whether that would be able to get into the conversation of Genty. But if he ends up getting that draft capital, getting that landing spot, all of it together, that's going to be massive. We're taking a look. Cleveland is also taking calls reportedly via Diana Rossini that for the number 5 pick as well. So they are not done reportedly. They are still planning to wheel and deal. So, if I'm the Cleveland, I've already moved down once. I've accumulated a first round pick from a team that could be good next year, but things could still go sideways for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That still might be a decent pick at second first round pick.
Let's kick it to the couch and see how they're doing over there.
960-899. While we're on, Abdul Carter just went off the board, as well as Will Campbell. Abdul Carter is great for the Giants because they already have a lot developing on defense. They still need secondary, but I think that cornerback is one of the most underrated and deep positions. And this gives them the ability to have someone who, even though he gets Micah Parsons comps, I think whereas Micah Parsons is better on the line of scrimmage as an edge rusher, Abdul Carter is better off ball, albeit he is still a good pass rusher. So they get a lot of defensive versatility and hopefully have something that helps with the passing game over the middle of the field with his ranginess and as a run stopper. Love this pick. And you get someone who is best player available, who could arguably be top 2 upside in almost any other draft that doesn't have Travis Hunter. Like he's
Cam Ward.
Okay, well, Cam Ward is a worse prospect. They had to do need. It's quarterback holding that up. This is best case scenario for them without quarterback. So
yeah, but the Giants, I mean, I understand you want to get the pass rusher. It's important to get that defensive line built up, but I just feel like the Giants, they need so much. And they even need a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
And Shedeur Sanders is sitting right there.
Says a lot about Sanders, who everyone is worried about. But right now I think they're okay with Russ being a Band-Aid until 2026.
And that's probably the thought, right?
Yeah.
Like they're right back in the top 5 again next year. They like the quarterback class.
Reports that they might come back in to pick Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
That is
So, because Brian Daboll loves Jackson Dart, according to reports.
I will go ahead and tell the audience now I am not ready for a top 10 pick Jackson Dart conversation.
Well, get ready, buddy. Get ready to speak New Orleans.
The Giants' D-line is stacked. Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and that's insane.
Yeah, and that's basically, the Eagles, they just draft this defensive line, draft the defensive line, get that pass rush up, get the run stopping up. We'll fill up the secondary in free agency. And obviously the Giants are a few years away from that. But it's nice to go ahead and get that blue chip piece on your D-line.
Mhm.
And I don't
Hopefully
think
next
they're
year you get the
gonna-
quarterback. But I think if I'm the Giants and Shadur Sanders does pan out, I'm having nightmares for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley 2.0.
Like it's like I get it, but I don't think if I'm in the shoes, and I understand that so many people are out on Shadur Sanders at this point, I don't think I could pass up on the potential franchise quarterback right there.
I couldn't either. And just while we're waiting on the Browns, because this could be a Shadur pick, and before we kick it back, I think the Will Campbell pick, very boring. Like I said on the Patriots, a lot of people were concerned about arm length. It's an eighth of an inch shorter than what people think. So if eighth of an inch short is good enough for your wife, I think it's good enough for the Patriots. And worst case scenario with Will Campbell, if they do have to kick him inside, I think if you consider what some of these other teams have done with the guard, I think Will Campbell could be a good guard and a good pick for the Patriots. Now, the last point on Abdul Carter, we have our D-up draft that's going on right now with Fast Draft. Edge rushers generally have a longer age apex than other positions. If you look at IDP Hunter, who's one of our affiliates, he's the one who taught me that. But Abdul Carter playing more off ball could be an opportunity for more tackles. So I would probably take him a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get the O-line.
Yeah, got
You have to get the O-line.
Mm.
You've just got your franchise quarterback in Drake May.
Mm.
I know it's a boring pick,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a good pick. You literally can't complain about it, and that's all that matters.
Means for Ramondre Stevenson, right?
It means he's going to get even more touches,
Yes.
guys. They still don't have a receiver. It's just going to be nothing but 5-yard dump offs to Stephon Diggs and Ramondre.
Derrick Henry did under Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson season, maybe.
Maybe I mean, there's still plenty of room in this first round for them to trade up for Amari and Hampton. There's the second round.
I was about the second round. There's still receiver. They can still trade up into the second round. I really like Elick Ayermanor.
Yeah.
So I think that should be, if he is in the second round or even close to striking range, just go ahead and get someone like that. Even a Emeka Egbuka, who I think might be a better wide receiver 2 than a 1.
It'll be tough for them to come back to get Ibuka.
You think he's going to go in the first?
He's going to go in top 20, I feel like.
For sure.
Mhm.
I think every year I feel like we underestimate how many wide receivers are really getting picked in the draft. And
And
pick
the
is
Browns
in.
pick is in, so we'll kick it back to our main crew over right behind us. Matt.
We're back.
Back. We're already breaking out the cigars. I'm not sure they're victory cigars, because our mock drafts are all down to 2s.
Well, they're nicotine relaxation.
So we have Will Campbell chalk at least. There's been no chalk so far, but the chalk has been Will Campbell at 4 to the Patriots. Now we're at 5. The pick is in for the Browns. I'm not sure. Are we tipping picks here?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
We haven't had we didn't have a pre-production meeting about whether we're tipping picks before the
I think
TV does it.
we're barely even watching the TV. I mean, it's up to
What? No, if we have a pick, we're taking. What do you mean?
Okay.
We're going to hide information from the people? What do you? I don't even understand what you're saying.
Okay, so the
Tipping
pick-
picks?
So the number 5,
If the pick is no, we need to report it.
according to Jordan Schultz, according to Aaron Wilson,
According to Twitter.
according to Twitter, the Browns are going to take Mason Graham here, defensive tackle from Michigan, who at number 5 all along. He was chalk at 5 for the last 2 months to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now he will be going to the Cleveland Browns at 5 overall, and it brings up for us. I don't know if you guys have thoughts at all about that. I think it's interesting that it doesn't feel like
Look at the screen, Alex. Look at the screen. Look what's on the screen.
What the hell did you just run? What is that? Mason Taylor?
What did I write?
Mason Taylor, the tight end from LSU.
Oh, wait.
yeah. So they did not take Mason Taylor.
Tipping picks, he said.
We're tipping picks. Mason Taylor, tight end, LSU. No, Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan, the Michigan man.
Yeah, Michigan man. Now it becomes interesting at the Raiders at 6, who had been.
Then what are the odds it's actually Calvin Banks? Because this is going
I'm
to be.
not sure it is anymore, because now it's like now. Here's the thing that everybody thought all along with Genty to the Raiders, right? And that kind of got blown up.
Is this tipping picks putting it on the screen like that?
No, you're beautiful.
No, No, it's fine.
Is it because we're putting it on the screen?
I've forgotten what our rules were.
The pick
here
is
as far
in
as
for the
taking
Raiders,
picks.
and the Raiders have selected number 6 overall, running back from Boise State.
Is it happening?
Ashton
There it
Genty.
is.
There we go.
There it is.
We got to go to the.
They did it.
We have to hear it from the projection desk.
We have to. No, we
Is-
can't.
what is
No,
it?
no, guys, listen.
What
No,
is he?
no.
Is he instant RB like
No.
4?
You can't. You have to. The whole point of having a projections desk is you have to give them time and filibuster so they can run the projections. The
Okay.
projections are not instant. Give them time to put things together. Don't just throw it over to them.
All right, here's our projection.
Let them have some time.
He's going to be
Mess around,
fed.
put wrong names up on the screen. We'll
Yeah.
joke around.
I project just a complete feeding of Ashton Genty indoors, right? For a team that's not, I wouldn't say devoid of other weapons because we do have Brock Bowers there and all the rest. But as far as, there's absolutely no running backs of consequence for him to deal with. There's no wide receivers of consequence for him to deal with as far as playmakers on offense. It's the Ashton Genty show, dude.
Right.
And it's
Just so everybody knows. Just so everybody, by the way, we know there's been some audio visual snafus here. We know that we have a whole mobile studio that we have to set up, and for whatever reason our camera was freezing earlier, and now we're trying to troubleshoot on the fly. That also means there were some audio issues. It's a cascading list of issues that happen. Listen, the beautiful thing is we're only 5-6 picks in.
yeah.
We're
So it could get
going
much-
hundreds of picks.
It could get much worse.
So we're getting this dialed just right in the early picks so that all the rest of the picks are going to be great.
It's gonna be a long weekend, and I think this is gonna be the epitome of the beginning with Ashton Genty here. A massive, colossal running back class, right? Starts at pick 6 with Ashton Genty, and we're gonna have 21 of these guys get drafted, 20, 19, 23. Who knows what it's gonna end up being? But this one, man, when it comes down to it, and we get to the season, Raiders take Ashton Genty. We're talking about 300 touches.
Is he RB3?
He's instantly a first round redraft selection.
I think he's RB3.
Okay, so you want you have Barkley, you got Gibbs,
RB4.
Bijan.
you got Bijan.
Yep. And Ashton Genty.
I think
RB4.
Ashton Genty's RB4.
RB4.
I mean, of course, we have to eventually. We're going to throw this to the projection desk eventually. But for now,
the
snap call.
It's Genty, dude.
The
It's
snap
Genty.
projection.
He's got no competition. It's Genty, and he's got no competition.
But
Dylan Lobby.
But what about Sincere McCormick?
Oh, yeah.
Dylan Lobby. What happens to Dylan Lobby?
Dylan Lobby, man.
Dylan Lobby's a great receiver. What does he do now?
He plays.
What is he gonna do?
They could probably put him in the slot
He's
behind
gonna,
Trey Tucker.
He's going to go on Davis Maddox podcast again, right?
Maybe teach Davis Maddox how to watch them all 22 or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Like he's going to go on the podcast. He's going to do. He's going to do the things.
Wait, I thought that was Patrick Laird. Wait, was that actually Dylan Lobby?
It might have been Patrick Laird. Yeah.
Well,
Similar-
I think
similar
you had
players.
Jeff Janis on, my man Jeff Janis.
Okay, similar guys.
Right?
Regardless.
What did
No,
they have-
Jeff Janis was the wide receiver version of Dylan Lobby.
Well, that's an interesting dichotomy between those two.
Yeah.
Look, man, like
Why are we talking about these guys and not Ashton Genty?
Hey, man,
That's the
what-
question.
with Genty, what you see is just the one thing that you worry about with him is
Guys, we're kicking it to the projection desk.
All right. Well, we are ready for here in the projections desk. We did put in the Ashton Genty data. So he is going to be the bell cow here in Vegas. The Raiders were very excited about drafting a player who could carry the load. There was not really another running back on the roster who could do such a thing. Just Raheem Mostert back there. Dylan Lobby drafted last year. It's clearly going to be Genty, projected Genty for over a 60% rush share. over 1,000 rushing yards, 7 rushing touchdowns. He's about the RB5 in our projections. So just behind Jahmyr Gibbs, in the same conversation as Christian McCaffrey. So this is where he's going, though, is that 1-2 turn. I think he still maintains his value. This projection keeps in line with where the market's been on him.
Yeah, and I think it's just important to note, like Bradley said, this is a tight-knit tier here between, Gentry, McCaffrey, and Gibbs. I mean, we're talking about 1 touchdown separating the 3 of these. So, ceiling play, we're probably talking about RB3, and right now in the projection floor is RB5. We got to love this landing spot. The only real competition he has is Raheem Mostert. And we know that he is not the poster child of health as a running back at this point in his career. He's going to have an immediate impact inside of the passing game. And this is the part, Bradley, that I think is the variable, because we know that they're going to need to add some other weapons inside the passing game right now. And they have, of course, the outstanding Brock Bowers. They're leaning into Jacoby Myers right now with the numbers. I was thinking Lockett was going to land here. That didn't happen last night.
Right.
So now we have Trey Tucker, is the wide receiver 2. So, I mean, Genty could come up. I mean, this number might be low right now. We haven't projected for about a 13% target share.
Yep.
And that might be low right now based upon the other weapons that, I should say, the lack of weapons here in this offense. Once the rest of the night unfolds tonight and tomorrow, I think we'll have a better understanding of what this receiving core looks like. But if we don't see any meaningful names added here, I mean, I think he might go up to RB2 in my projections, or 3.
That's not unreasonable.
Based upon it's going to matter about who they pick,
right,
and what that looks like when the projections land. But as of right now, the floor is 5, and I'd say we have a ceiling play up to 2.
I would also want to offer that this is a different Raiders team. Pete Carroll is the head coach. We know that there's institutional stability with the Raiders, not only from the coaching perspective, but also the move they made this offseason to acquire a Geno Smith. Geno Smith is not a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL. He is going to give you consistent weeks. He knows how to get the ball to his guys. And with the addition of Ashton Genty as a weapon out of the backfield, plus your Brock Bowers, plus Jacoby Myers, and there's still space for another 80 reception player in this, max 80 reception player, we're still seeing that there's space for the Raiders to continue to ascend overall as a team organizationally. So this is good for Genty. This is good for Geno Smith. This is good for the entirety of this is good for Brock Bowers and his touchdown equity. That was something that was lacking last year for the Vegas Raiders. So this is a great move all around for the Raiders.
Raider fans got to be happy with this.
They got to be excited.
All right, kicking it back to you guys.
Hey, Couch, how we doing?
All right, so Ashton Genty on the Raiders, Jagger, over under 2,000 yards.
Definitely under, because he's a Raider. He's a Raider. You got to give him that. This is a great and bad pick, because I think the Raiders have so many holes and don't deserve Genty, but Genty deserves to go top 5. And I know we've heard from Alex and everyone back behind us that he is in play for top 3. I think it's true for redraft, the top 3 running back. In Dynasty, he's as close to the RB1 in Dynasty as Bijan or Gibbs is at this point. The real question for fantasy is how much receiving upside he's going to get. That's what everyone's not talking about, because particularly in a Pete Carroll offense, the running back isn't going to catch a lot of passes.
And it's not like Raiders have a great offensive line either.
Or a quarterback, arguably. But
they pay $65 million guaranteed.
Hey, man, companies pay bad employees every day.
It's all about retention rate. Pete Carroll loves his guys. Pete Carroll is gonna love Ashton Genty.
And not to disrespect, I'm not saying that Geno's bad, but in this league, it's like you have a franchise elevating quarterback or you don't. It's not that he's just okay or passable. You have to have an elite roster around him for you to be truly competitive. Genty helps, I will say. Genty does help. So
I think Genty's going to have 18 to 20 carries a game.
Yeah, so is Zeus dead?
I mean, Zeus was arguably never alive. Zeus was never alive. It's like your Dylan Laube joke that you made, man. It's like what happened to Dylan Laube? Who is Dylan Laube at this point?
No one. He's just
no. To me, that was the Raiders, like I guess it was a shakeup, but not. Okay. I do think that again with Genty, I don't know if he's going to have the upside without just pure volume, without rushing. But the real question is like now you got Bowers, now you have Genty. The Raiders now have two.
Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers. They have a good receiver.
Got Jacoby Myers.
Hey, you sleep on Jacoby. He's reliable. Like he's good enough. You know, they basically got a Patriots roster. If you think about it, you got a good running back. You have a good slot receiver and an elite tight end. That's something. But other than that, I can't read that. I'm sorry. What does that say?
It says code green.
Okay. Code green. I know you can use fast draft code draft right now. So and we have our Origins Chaos draft going right now. Genty is going 101 to 102. I think now him going to the Raiders, he's confirmed 101 over Cam Ward. Like you had to argue.
Cam Ward.
Oh, what?
Whoa.
It's a.
Whoa.
It is Origins.
Throw to, like, Tyler Lockett.
I don't care.
If you're in the comments,
care.
Would you politely boo Jason?
I don't care. Boo me all you want.
Just
Cam Ward will score more total fantasy points than Ashton Genty this year.
okay, but
And
if
that's
you think
what
about
Origins is about.
but it's positional upside a little bit. Well, it is best ball. I'll give you
It is
that.
total
It
best
is
ball.
best
Give
ball.
me the quarterback.
He makes some compelling points, but boo him just for fun.
Yeah, boo
Just for fun.
I will
boo
accept
him.
that. Boo me for
Yeah,
fun.
and a
I'm-
polite boo.
Yeah.
Don't be rude. Just a polite.
I don't
You
think
know.
Jason cares.
Actually, give me a spooky boo, like a Halloween boo.
Oh yeah.
Scare me a little.
You use the ghost emoji and boo.
What's with Joshua here? He's been booing me the whole show. What have I been? What's happened with me?
I apologize for my co-host, people. Jetty should be your 101 in your drafts. Now, like I said, the question is just how high in like normal redraft and Dynasty. Obviously, you're taking him 101. The volume is just going to be insane at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dynasty Debbie, he's
I'm trading for 102s.
Can we talk
Take it
about the
here.
Browns taking Mason Graham? Is Shadur Sanders cooked?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we do need to talk
No.
about
He's
this.
on
We're now
cooked
at pick
watch.
7.
Saints are still on the clock. So
That's if
But
the
they like
Saints are
Dart.
gifted Shadur Sanders, the Falcons taking Michael Penix last year, and then
Yeah.
theoretically Shadur Sanders landing in the Saints' lap at pick 9.
Mhm.
It's just horrendous to think about, really.
It's not good, folks. Maybe like it's just let's just say it, it's just not good. Maybe, just maybe, all those reports that he's kind of a D-bag are true.
you never know.
But
But imagine like Mason Graham and Myles Garrett. It's amazing.
man, you're going to be great when you go 3 and out. You know, like that team's going to look really good.
I mean, like, they don't have a QB though.
They have Joe Flacco.
They're probably going to trade for Kirk Cousins. I mean, like,
Is he better than Joe Flacco? I'm not convinced. You know?
Shadur Sanders?
I know. I'm talking about Joe.
Oh.
I'm talking about is Kirk Cousins better than Joe Flacco?
ooh, it looks like Membo is
No.
going to the Jets.
Membu to the Jets. We love that for Justin Fields.
We do.
Absolutely love that. For
We
Justin
do.
Fields.
Tyler Warren has been mocked here a lot, and I've told everyone that is a very Jets pick, meaning it's a mistake. So I'm happy that I'm wrong on this, and they got a need, you know, because they've been whiffing on that offensive line, and heaven forbid Justin Fields has an offensive
So,
line
if
once in
you were
his
the
career.
Jets, would you be pissed if he's the next Brock Bowers? If Tyler Warren's the next Brock Bowers?
He won't be.
He won't
He
be.
won't.
Yeah, Tyler Warren could be the next George Kittle, which is a very good tight end. But Brock Bowers, everyone give him the Brock Bowers comp. Forget that Brock Bowers is barely a tight end. He's just
Yeah,
a
he's a
very,
wide
very
receiver.
thick
Yeah.
slot, you know.
Yeah.
Panthers picked immediately, so I am excited to see who this literally immediately.
Mm.
But before their pick
Jalen
comes in
Carter, the
last year, I am curious though. So we have New York, right? Both New York teams. The Giants, they bring in Russell Wilson. The Jets, they bring in Justin
Mm.
Fields. Neither of them picked Shadur Sanders when given the opportunity.
Mhm.
Both are going around. So who's winning next year? Like what? Like are we already looking towards 2026 for these guys, or do we think that Justin Fields or Russell Wilson is more than a year gap?
Russell Wilson's a year gap. Justin Fields is like, I like you, prove it.
Mhm.
Worst case scenario,
Mhm.
like a lot of these teams, it's like worst case scenario, we're fighting for a high pick in a much better quarterback class, or we have our guy. Like realistically, that's what it
they
is.
paid him $40 million. I mean, it's
Yeah.
more than backup money.
Yeah.
It's not terrible backup money.
Yeah.
And he played well for the Steelers last year.
Yeah.
He did. I don't know
Arguably,
why.
he did more than Russ because when you put the pressure on Russ, what do you got? You've got Drew Brees with
He
no
couldn't
arm.
run. Russ couldn't run.
Yeah.
No, 4-2 with Justin Fields, very competitive games. The 2 losses were not that bad. They probably would have done just as well, if not better, if they rolled with Justin Fields last year through the rest of the season. Man, I want to see who these
Yeah.
Panthers
The
pick.
if the Panthers got to take Ted here. I'm curious if Ted goes here.
That'll
To-
be-
to-
It is Tet.
It's Ted
It's
McMillan.
Ted.
It's Ted McMillan. Yeah.
It is Ted McMillan. Is
I'm
it?
not sure it is.
Wait, you're not sure? Is it? It is Ted or it's not?
Jordan Schultz is saying the Panthers are taking Ted McMillan.
Jordan Schultz is saying, well, that means that they're taking Ted McMillan.
It's been
Ted
and
Owen McMillan is a Panther.
Connor Hughes is saying it. It looks like it's
I told you.
This pick seems nonsensical. Joe Person is quote tweeting this and
I told
acting like he is in the know about it as well. Ted McMillan, I told Cody, I got to apologize. I told you on our daily show at Rosterwatch when we were doing our final mock drafts that you were thinking about Ted McMillan at 8 here, that I told you it was mock draft suicide and that you were committing a crime against humanity, and you were right. So
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Congrats to Cody, man. He got it. I feel bad. I let all the mock drafters and all the haters move me off of Ted McMillan and my mocks.
What does this mean? What does that mean? What does this mean? What is Carolina trying
What
to
do you mean?
here?
We talked about it, man. They
McShay
told us
had him
Xa-
at 50.
They told us Xavier Legette was. They told. Well, we got the coaches in place to help Xavier Legette continue to be the best receiver he can be. What does that mean? It means we're drafting a receiver to be better than you. It's the same thing they did with Mingo.
I mean, it's the perfect guy to draft. I mean, it's the perfect fit for Carolina. This is great.
He's going to be.
This is a great pick.
He's going to be slaughtered with targets.
This is amazing. I mean, it's great for the Panthers. It's one of those perfect situations where the team is much better. It fits a need. He's going to be very happy.
You're
being
assisting
the main
Bryce Young.
target. Bryce Young was almost a requirement. It was a requirement. They were obligated to upgrade wide receiver for Bryce Young. They need to be more competitive in a division where Tampa Bay is scoring a lot of points.
Cody could have had this and could have been just diversified him. He would be on the top. Cody, you'd be on the top of the leaderboard right now on the huddle report if you'd have done that. I cannot
do it.
I cannot believe that it's not Jalen Walker. Cody had said the whole time. He said, "Dude, I know for the Panthers this is going to be a defensive draft, right? But the Panthers have a lot of picks, and we all know that round 2 and round 3 for this draft are littered with all kinds of I can't even start to name all the players on defense that could come in and be instant contributors through rounds 2 through 5.
Is this a pick where
and what Cody was saying was like, dude, I know they need to go defense. I know they need to keep doing it. I had a source close to the Panthers tell me, like, dude, they're with their first pick. It was one of I had the most conviction about this. With their first pick, they're taking an edge rusher. It's probably gonna be Jalen Walker, and they're gonna draft defense. But what Cody says, like, why not with the first pick, maybe go with an offensive player, and then the rest of it load up on defense. I said, Cody, that's suicide.
But it's very smart to do, but Carolina doesn't typically do smart things. And I think what the haters are going to do is the people that don't like Ted McMillan are going to say, oh, this is the next bingo. This is Carolina doing Carolina things. Overdrafting another wide receiver that can't separate, or another size speed specimen that can't play football, all those things. Or, what does McShay like to talk about? How he takes plays off over the middle, things of that nature. I mean, this is what they're going to say. The metrics are clear that it's Justin Hunter and Ted McMillan in this class. They are the They are the class
It
of the
isn't.
class.
It isn't Justin, but it's definitely Travis. All right. Justin Hunter was definitely. He definitely had some. He definitely had some juice.
It's been a running joke that I've been saying Justin Hunter for the last.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway, but there's a lot of guys with the same. We've talked about this. We talked about this already. How there's guys with the same names is confusing.
He's confusing.
There's a lot of guys with the same names. But anyway, how many guys named Taylor are there in this? Is it Mason Taylor? Anyway, Justin Hunter,
Travis Taylor, pretty good receiver from the Vikings.
and also
Or just guy's name Mason.
Travis Hunter.
Mason Smith also plays for the Jags.
Yeah.
I deserve this. I deserve this. I deserve this very much. We took this. We went down this road. I deserve it. So anyway.
Before we go to the projection desk, I know we'll go there soon enough, maybe in an hour once they get the Tedrow McMillan projections done. Is this like instant? I understand. So you've been on the more of the McMillan number one side of things, I would say, Matt. We've been more on this. I'm on the side of wide receiver 5. I think Alex is at like 3. Now post this selection for me in fantasy.
No, wide receiver. No,
do you have
I
him
have
too?
Ted McMillan as wide receiver. Well,
You have
depending
him at 3.
Well, because Hunter now. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Coming
3.
in, you had
Yeah.
him at 3.
Yeah.
Point taken. Okay, he goes off 8th overall. What I'm saying is a year ago, my big take, right, going into the season, you remember this. Every single show I'd go on, I go, Malik Neighbors, no matter what in seasonal, because this year he's going to get annihilated. He can get Allen Robinson, second year in Jacksonville type, 160 targets, 1,400 yards, and 14 touchdowns because he is the one, right? And now you actually have a competent quarterback, a much more competent quarterback than what Malik Neighbors dealt with last year. I'm looking at Tedrow McMillan right now, and I'm like in a weird spot where
He's nowhere near the player that Malik Neighbors is.
Correct. But also the quarterback play is better. And I just think that a lot more target share could go there. The pick is in for the Saints. Let's get off of this Tedrow McMillan thing because
Please tell me it's Michael
sec-
Williams.
No. The flat circle of the NFL draft has come to fruition, just as we have talked about. He didn't fall to the 20s. He went pick 9 to the New Orleans Saints.
Is it Kelvin?
Calvin Banks, offensive tackle, Texas Longhorns.
Okay.
You like that. But
Talisi Fuaga and Calvin Banks.
Because Trevor Penning stinks.
What do you have him at?
and we are going to get into that, and we're going to go to the projection desk in a moment. But let's talk about what everyone needs: the Player Profiler Rookie Guide momentarily. Theo Greminger is gone. We wish him all the best, but he did leave for us a great gift, the 2025 Player Profiler Rookie Guide. That's right. It is here. It is beautiful. It will help you dominate your rookie drafts this year. It features 60-plus player breakdowns, written primarily by Theo Greminger himself, as well as our proprietary NFL draft grades and strategy and tactics for dominating your rookie draft this year. We have a composite rankings with Theo's rankings, Cody, John Lobb, Jagger May, and Jax Falcone. It's right there on Player Profiler. It's $20. You won't find a better draft kit. You certainly won't find a better draft kit value. So go get it on PlayerProfiler.com.
All right, welcome back to the projections desk here at Player Profiler. Billy Muzio alongside Bradley Stalder. We're reacting to the Ted McMillan selection for the Carolina Panthers. He immediately slots in as the wide receiver 1 on the team. That's not in question. Remember, last year, Xavier Legette was the selection for the Carolina Panthers. Underwhelmed for Bryce Young. Remember, last year, Bryce Young was benched after a couple games. Andy Dalton came in. They saw a little bit of resurgence, and then Bryce Young really picked it up near the end of the season. There were a couple top 5 weekly finishes for Bryce Young. We saw a real big turnaround for Young under Dave Canales. So there's increased confidence in the young quarterback, and now we see Ted McMillan getting selected at 8 for the Panthers. And Billy, we put in about a 22% target share for Ted McMillan as well. About 115 targets approximately, about 70 receptions, over 900 receiving yards, and about 5 receiving touchdowns. This is good news for McMillan. He'll immediately slot in there. He'll also be able to learn alongside Adam Thielen, who has won both on the outside and in the slot. He's a big-bodied wide receiver who can teach the young wide receiver a little bit of savviness. Remember, Ted McMillan, 6'4", 220, an 81st percentile speed score. This dude is a beast, and this is what's another move to support and elevate Bryce Young and the development of the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I think the big body's needed here. I think this is exactly what they needed for their young quarterback. And when we look at just the 22% target share, I mean, people might look at that and say that might be slightly high with all the other weapons they have in the offense, but you got to keep in mind they have 124 available targets right now in this offense. That is 25% of that directly in the wide receiver position. So there is a lot of room for him to eat, and even dive in more to the rest of these teams, or to cannibalize the rest of these receivers. Adam Thielen has seen better days. He's probably going to see his overall targets start to diminish more and more throughout the year. We still have, quite a bit of vacancies at the wide receiver position outside of, Thielen, Leggett, McMillan, and Coker. I mean, that's about it. And then you got 2 tight ends, but they're nothing to really be, in my opinion, nothing special here that's going to be, eating into that target share. So my question is, how much are we going to see him utilize in the red zone? All right. We have 2 tight ends that are probably, a little bit, I'd say on the less than stellar side in
Don't besmirch Tommy Tremble like that, Billy.
Yeah, less than stellar at the tight end room. So I mean, McMillan might be, and more than likely, probably the go-to target here inside of the red zone. So 7% reception touchdown percentage at the 5 touchdowns that we have might be a little low, but we're being conservative here on this original projection. But this is subject to change as we see more Campa going out. But pretty happy with the original run projections, and we're going to continue to tweak these as we go through the rest of the night.
One note as well, Ian Rappaport shared that the rapport between Bryce Young and Tet McMillan has existed. This is the quiet connection. So he's reporting that Bryce Young and Ted McMillan have already been throwing passes to each other.
Baby.
You want to hear these narratives coming out of the draft. You remember Anthony Richardson, Josh Downs throwing balls in the parking lot after they were drafted. You want to hear these types of narratives, whether it's the shower narrative from college, whether it is the high school narratives, whether it is the bunkmate narratives. We want to hear this positive connection immediately to instill our confidence. Because yes, we do the numbers, we run the projections, but these are the subjective opinions that become objective reality in the numbers. We play a numbers game. Fantasy football is getting the most points, and we get points through these connections. So there are subjective parts to this. Tet McMillan, we project to be the wide receiver 1 for Carolina to start out. And with the draft capital there's no reason to doubt that. All right. We'll keep her going here. Let's refresh here. The Saints, unsurprisingly, did not go with a quarterback, even though Derek Carr is dealing with a shoulder injury that may keep him out indefinitely. The GM for the Saints has come out and said this isn't going to change our draft plans. But what might have changed their draft plans was the availability of Kevin Banks. There were a lot of mocks who were putting Kelvin Banks not available to the Saints at this point. So if the Saints saw that he was available, they used the number 9 pick on offensive tackle Kelvin Banks. We are waiting for the number 10 pick, the Bears. We're waiting on that pick. We're getting some reports, mixed reports here. Some are saying that it's Loveland. Some are saying that it is Hampton. We're getting confirmed reports. We're waiting to see who is going to be the Bears selection here at 10. There was a lot of discussion about Genty being to the Bears. There were rumors connecting the Bears to move up to trade with the Jaguars to get an Ashton Genty, a running back, a Jahmyr Gibbs type, but we'll see. So we're going to flip it to the couch. Couch, give us an update.
Cool. You guys asked for it. The Bears pick is in. Before we go, like I said, we're pushing fast draft right now. If you use code CouchGuy, Matt Kelly has graced you guys, the Podfather, with $100 deposit match right now.
$100.
$100. Yeah, that's double what we normally do, 50. So you guys wanted Couch Guy. That is a real code. And what's crazy is Couch Guy doesn't even know it's happening right now. So keep it going, guys. We love to see it. And we're going to spoil it for you. If you don't know, the Bears have picked Colston Loveland right now. Right now, he's the first tight end off the board ahead of Tyler Warren. Vindication.
Yeah.
Vindication.
Yeah.
I said Tyler Warren is not the tight end one, and everyone yelled at me.
Well, I will say this. Tyler Warren may still be the tight end one for fantasy. Rookie tight end one for fantasy. But yes, Colston Loveland at the beginning of the draft was going to be the first tight end drafted. That's how this process goes. Alex Dunlap, we'll hear from him in a minute. His saying is the draft is a flat circle, and I love that every single year. This is proof of that. Colston Loveland, pick 10 to the Bears. They have Cole Kmet. They paid him a ton of money.
RIP. Is Ryan Poles low-key the worst and best GM ever? Like, I feel like new Ryan Poles hates old Ryan Poles. Like, he must look back. He's like, why did I pay Cole Kmet that much? I don't know, but I got to fix it.
Like, you don't have to get Colston Loveland here.
I think it's a weird pick. It's arguably a bad pick. Do you think?
I love Colston Loveland. I'm a Michigan fan.
Go blue.
Go blue.
Go blue.
Go blue. This is a bad pick for the Bears.
You could have almost used anything else but tight end.
Literally anything else.
I think Colston Loveland is more of a wide receiver than a tight end,
Which is fine.
I think that's what they're trying to replace Keenan Allen with Colston Loveland and have like Cole Kmet in the blocking scheme.
Yeah, but
That's what they're probably thinking about.
yeah, I mean, they're looking for Brock Bowers 2.0, but Brock Bowers is Brock Bowers. Colston Loveland is not Brock Bowers.
No, I mean, but I do think he could be.
It's gonna be interesting because how are they going
Laporta.
to use it?
Yeah, I think they should. Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be Laporta, and I mean that in every sense of the word, because you got to think of who the coaching staff is in now. And I know you can't interchange one for one. And someone like I had Thor on the Fast Draft Pod. He had concerns about inline blocking. I disagreed. I didn't want to do him like that on my own pod because I wanted him to come back. But I definitely see the role here. Whereas I think that Rome Odunze has his own role. DJ Moore is going to be more of the JMO here. But you have a versatile blocker and a reliable receiver that I think immediately arguably becomes a tight end one over Tyler Warren. So right now, again, Origins draft code Couch Guy, Colston Loveland in our Chaos draft, that is super exploitable. So guys back there aren't ready. They are ready. So we're going to kick it back to our main desk right now.
I want to say San Francisco is about to come up. I just want to predict it. I'm going Matthew Golden to the Niners.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh, the Couch Guy moved. So the Couch Guy moved.
Mystery. Couch Guy is
moved.
not Couch Guy right now, but we will make sure he's somewhere else. He will be a part of the stream.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So we're going to stay here because he's not here. Once Couch Guy settles down,
we're not either, and we're also not telling you who Couch Guy is. You will not find out.
San Francisco's on the clock here. I don't want to bogart the Podfather's idea, but like, is Tyler Warren like
tight end to tight end, top 12 in the draft would be kind of crazy.
If the Podfather's 1 for 2 on takes like this, I'd take that as a win for Tyler Warren going to the
Michael Williams to the 49ers.
Michael Williams to the 49ers. They need help on the defensive line. Nick Bosa, and the 49ers again are, like I think we said this, they're a team that needs everything. The more you think about it, that defense is getting, dare I say, washed. So
I mean, half the defense was sold or went in free agency.
They just lost Dre Greenlaw. Fred Warner is aging. Travarius Ward had to leave because of his personal issues. Like, I get it. And it's not bad personal issues. It's some bad shit happened, But, like, other than that, I think this is a great pick. Would I take him in D-up? No, because he's a different
quickly, we have to touch on Saints not picking Shador.
No one. We're still here.
He's
wild
cooked.
Card.
He's cooked, or
wild card.
He's either cooked or a Steeler. So
I don't know. Oh God! I mean, Steelers are excited if
who's the second QB is going to go?
I'm not convinced. Like,
if it's Dart, I will scream live on this show. There will be live screaming from this guy on this show if Jackson Dart gets picked before Shedeur Sanders. The NFL overthinks way too much shit. It's Shedeur Sanders. He should have been top 10. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I wouldn't even be surprised. And maybe I'm just over analyzing this thing. but wild card at the Cowboys pick.
And if Billy and Bradley are ready, I want to kick over to them on the news desk, the projections for Colston Loveland to go back there.
Oh,
Since
yeah,
Mike
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we're going to kick it over to them. Billy, Bradley, I hope you're ready because we can't hear you and there's no warning.
Hey guys, so we are putting in the projections right now for Colston. The most obvious takeaway is that he is going to play alongside Cole Kmet. And last year, Cole Kmet disappointed in terms of a target share. He was definitely a player that, has had his time there, not been an exceptional dynamic player. So that's kind of, I think, how the Bears are moving toward addressing this offense. They already have DJ Moore. They have Roma Dunze, and the Bears wide receivers coach Randall L came out and said that when he was on the Lions, Roma Dunze was the wide receiver one in the class that the Lions were how they evaluated. So looking at the projections right now, it's a little difficult to say that Loveland is a good pick from the fantasy perspective. I think this is a really tough landing spot because Cole Kmet is, yes, he isn't, a George Kittle level, a Travis Kelce level, but he's also not just going to roll over. I view Cole Kmet as, almost a Hunter Henry level, competent pro tight end. He can block well. He's a product of Notre Dame, a day 2 pick back in the day. So, for Colston Loveland, this is a really tough landing spot, I think. So Loveland right now, we're putting in about a 10% target share, about 58 targets,
43 receptions. And that gives us 2 touchdowns. It's going to give us around 2.2. It's nothing.
It's tough.
It's a tough projection right now. They still have a lot of mouths to feed in this offense. You have DJ Moore still. You have Roma Dunze. You got 2 dynamic pass catching backs, in my opinion. We're a little higher on Roschon than the average person is. DeAndre Swift's still there. I mean, you have Cole Kmet still in this offense.
Right.
So it's going to take some time for him to start eating into this target share. I know people always get really excited when they see a rookie get drafted, but it's the tight end position. And outside of Brock Bowers last year, this is usually a position that takes time to develop as they're learning not only your routes, but they're also learning blocking schemes. And so it's going to be a little tough for him to see the field at first, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is one of those developmental pieces. This may take a couple years. This is Trey McBride pathway. This is, that's an interesting comp. Remember Trey McBride was in a 2nd round pick a couple years ago. It took him time. He didn't play much his first year, playing behind Zach Ertz, who was an established veteran. And in a similar sense, we see here the Chicago Bears get a player that can be dynamic in the future. The Bears are here for the long haul. They have Roma Dunze, very young. They have Colston Loveland, very young. And they may address the running back position later on in the draft. There's definitely room for that. DeAndre Swift, there's not been a strong commitment. The finances are, in place for Swift to play this year, but the Bears are not only playing for this year, but also for the future. And you have to also think that Colston Loveland, a good blocker, and that the Bears address the offensive line with a lot of free agency. That was a priority add this year to spare Caleb Williams all of the sacks that he was suffering under the previous coaching regime. So the Bears are a team that, we're excited to see move forward. As a Packers fan, I'm not personally, but for a fantasy perspective, we want to see Caleb Williams take the next step. DJ Moore, I have very high in the projections. Roma Dunze he's getting round 4, round 5 draft capital in the fantasy streets. So there's a lot of market love for Roma Dunze. DeAndre Swift handled the majority of share last year. And so we'll see whether the Bears let Swift play out this contract, or if they go toward another player in round 2, round 3. There is space, and Swift, although he's an established veteran, may not be the fit that Ben Johnson wants. So we'll see whether that happens. We have an update. Booker to the Cowboys. Did we get the 49ers pick? Is that refreshed yet?
Still says pick is in.
I think the couch desk had said that they went with Michael Williams. Is that right?
I have not seen it, but
Let me refresh.
Punching in projections.
Let me refresh the note here. Yes. All right. Yeah, so we are awaiting some of that update. It is Michael Williams with the 11th pick. That was in my mock draft earlier today, Billy. Michael Williams. We were discussing what the 49ers need, and they low-key need a lot of things, especially with Bosa moving on. But now they get Michael Williams, who was a late stage riser. Many of the mock drafts had Michael Williams in the 20s or 30s or even in the second round a couple weeks ago. And now Michael Williams, he was getting mocked much earlier, only the last couple days. And this was a player who was trending upward, and the 49ers select with the 11th overall pick. And now the Dallas Cowboys have, there we go. Correct, Bradley. Excellent. The chat is lit. Shout out to a lot of the chat as well. We want to take a moment, let y'all know that Couch Guy has the promo. If you use the promo code, let's see, Couch Guy, a 100 deposit match on Fast Draft. So download the Fast Draft app, use the promo code Couch Guy. That's right. Couch Guy is nodding his head. This is the way. We got you covered both from a fantasy perspective and the deposit match for Fast Draft. Billy, any other words about Fast Draft?
I mean, Couch Guy is pretty awesome back here, handing out $100 bills, like just flat out handing out Benjamins back here. Couch Guy, gotta love it, everybody.
Gotta love it. But what we don't love is the love landing spot for Loveland.
Not crazy about Loveland spot. I mean, I like the talent. Not crazy about him sharing this tight end field with Cole Kmet, and I mean, even more. I mean, DJ Moore is a target hog. We're going to see him at 26%, maybe 27% target share.
Oh, yeah.
You have Rome Odunze going to be at, the low 20%. You have Swift probably conservatively at 6 or 7%. This is it's just going to starting to get crowded here. And, we have a lot of pieces that are going to be changing here in this offense.
We also may look at the Bears addressing parts of their defense as they get into the next couple rounds. The reality is that the Bears defense was very good last year. Problem is, if you're a good defense, but on the field a lot, you'll get tired by the end of the game. And that's where the Bears were losing some games, not only because of bad coaching, but because their defense was getting exhausted. That's what you want to get guys who can step in, make a big difference. So let's go. Pick update, Michael. Come on, guys. That's right. Chat, you got to help me out sometimes. I appreciate it. Y'all, we've got the best chat, though. We got a good group of people here with us. Absolutely. Not only in the chat, but also Couch Guy bringing the fire. Well, we've had a couple picks in. Let's kick it back to the main desk to get their takes on them.
Here we go. We're back, guys. Alex,
We're back.
we're back.
All the way.
So we're getting caught up on picks here. So what's your favorite pick of the last 3 or 4 that have come in recently?
So we have the Cowboys. They took Tyler Booker. We had the 49ers took Michael.
Yep. Michael Williams.
And the Loveland goes to the Bears.
Loveland goes to the Bears.
Loveland to the Bears.
Can we talk
Loveland
about
to the Bears?
Can we talk about Loveland?
Loveland to the Bears. We got to talk about it.
Okay, so I think that I had Tyler Warren going here. I think that it's definitely interesting because what Ben Johnson can do here with this is he can go to 12 personnel. He has his 2 alphas on the outside. He's got DJ Moore. He has Rome Odunze. You go to 12 personnel with Cole Kmet, and they got like Colson Loveland, who is definitely more of your kind of your F or like your move tight end to go with a Cole Kmet, who's more of your inline Y. And I'm still wrapping my mind around it a little bit.
You don't take a move tight end this high in the draft ever. I don't care. It's not a good football move. It's not a good pick.
Well, here's the thing.
They're under pressure. It's just like the Carolinas under pressure taking Ted McMillan. They're under pressure to make Bryce Young a thing.
It is.
Whenever you have a young quarterback, especially one who's struggling, you're obliged to help him in some way. So I understand the rationale why Chicago would do this, but why not invest in offensive line? Why not invest? I mean, a move tight end just isn't the answer. Tyler Warren would have been a better pick in general. Is a better all-purpose tight end. Doesn't make any sense.
Because you get him in line, you get him next to a left tackle like Braxton Jones, who is probably now at this point what they've done with getting Darnell Wright on the right side and your first round pick. What they've done with being able to get everybody. Getting everybody on board as far as the interior offensive line, right? For the rest of the offensive line, you figure you get Tyler Warren in there, he can actually help as far as the run blocking and as far as the outside zone scheme that they're going to try and implement here. I think we probably need to look at Loveland though is certainly the number 3 target here in a Ben Johnson offense. I do not think though that this is a 1-for-1 kind of Sam Laporta thing, right?
Sam Laporta was Sam Laporta because there was only one other option other than Amon-Ra St. Brown that year, and it was Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
Right. No.
Who cares?
And they're totally different. Well, we're talking about
this. They have DJ Moore and Roma Dunze.
We're
He's not going to be at Loveland's. Not
we're talking
about
the same, but we're talking about the same.
No,
people love
the same division. Allen. And I just
want to say, Cody was right. This was all about replacing Keenan Allen. With the fat Keenan Allen, with a big, beefy move tight end in the slot. I get it; it's fun. I understand that. You can see how a general manager would visualize this, right? You can see it. That doesn't mean it's the smart move. It doesn't mean there's a lot more valuable pieces on the football field than move tight end that justify top 20 draft capital, which is what they're investing here. That's what doesn't make any sense. But for fantasy, also with a rookie quarterback who's not proven himself yet, you have 2 receivers that are top 25 talents at the position. So there's no way Loveland's going to be a thing in fantasy anytime soon. This is going to help.
Dude, Loveland is a very gifted player. Like tight end is a hellscape in fantasy football, man.
And Loveland it will continue to be as long as you're drafting Loveland. He's a rookie tight end, and they have 2 competing alpha wide receivers with a second-year quarterback who hasn't proved himself. And you're going to be investing in Loveland, in Dynasty, in seasonal leagues, best ball. None of that makes any sense. I know you like him. I think that he's interesting. He's tactically interesting.
Everybody likes him.
There essentially are players who are interesting tactical weapons for offensive coordinators, and those guys are typically not that good for fantasy.
That's a good point. And do you know what, man, as I'm thinking about it through my own kind of process, thinking that Tyler Warren could be the guy here, I should have thought to myself that they might want a little bit of a yin and yang as opposed to Tyler Warren and Cole Kmet.
Bingo.
The fact that they would even factor in Cole Kmet into this decision making when you could just have 2 stud tight ends.
They love Cole Kmet.
I know, but it just because you already have Cole Kmet doesn't mean the answer isn't obviously Tyler Warren. If you're going to do this, you get a 2-way tight end for the future, then it makes some sense. This pick doesn't make sense. In fact, the fact that in all these big boards I've seen Loveland and Warren adjacent has never made sense to me because Warren is just a much more complete player. And talk about tactics, he's even more important to have a proper 2-way tight end.
Do you think that now it's just a lock that because the pick's in for the Dolphins, they're not going to go Warren? Do you think that he's 14 to the Colts and that's that?
What is the pick for the Dolphins?
Have we ever been right with the Colts though? Ever?
We've never been right.
This isn't tipping, but we are reporting picks. As picks are being reported, we are passing on those reports.
I have not seen anything yet as far as pick 13.
You just said the pick was in.
The pick is in, but I've not seen.
What is the pick?
So here,
It
we
just
don't
says
have a
the pick
pick.
is in.
If the pick is in, what is it? Who is it?
Barry Jackson's reporting that the Dolphins select Kenneth Grant,
Kenneth Grant. Makes a lot of sense.
defensive lineman from
Makes a lot of sense.
Michigan.
Yep. What Michigan players? Hot and heavy on these Michigan. Wait, is Harbaugh even going to have anyone to draft? Is Harbaugh going to give up? Wait, remember, if you don't pick in time, then the pick automatically then just transfers to the team after you.
Yep.
Is Harbaugh just going to not pick because there's no Michigan guys left?
Hey, he might.
Because all the mock drafters are only mocking him Michigan players.
Can he claim takesy backsies and just go and get Blake Corum? Something like that.
Well, we could just take an Ohio State player
Or you could take a running back.
from Ohio State.
They need.
They
Could. Yeah.
I cannot believe that the Miami Dolphins just took.
Why can't you believe that? They lost Christian Wilkins.
They lost Christian Wilkins, but they also lost Teron Armstead, and they Tua Tagovailoa is one concussion away from being completely out of the scene here.
Now, in my mock draft that I submitted to the Huddle Report, which I spent a lot of time on, and by a lot of time I meant minutes, hours, not minutes, but also hours, not days. And, I did some research, and one of the picks I felt the most comfortable with was Membo to the Dolphins. Fits a need. Teron Armstead retires. He's going to be the best
if he's going to be there. But Armand Membo was never going to be there.
Well, that's why I had him. So now that who do you think they should have drafted?
I think they should have taken. I think that they should have taken Josh Simmons from Ohio State here.
Yep. I think that would have been a good move.
Well, that's the best available tackle.
Yes.
That's
There you go.
They're from everything we've heard, Josh Simmons is progressing super well from the torn patella.
Progressing.
What did I say?
Sound like you said regressing.
Okay.
Is he regressing?
I hope he's not regressing.
I hope he's not regressing.
He's progressing very well from the torn patellar tendon. That happened on October 12th of last year.
By the way, just in the New York Jets have selected Armand Membo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely took him.
They took him. Yeah.
So Kenneth Grant goes to.
And by the way, there's no name mix-ups I can do intentionally with Armand Membo. There's only one Armand in the NFL. There's only one Membo, so I can't do any Justin Hunters with this.
You can't call him, Ken Membo.
Hey, we got a super chat from Matthew Smith in the chat for $5. He says, "Just ask Alex how great Loveland will be for Chicago's community."
Go ahead, Alex.
Well, it's just
go ahead.
He's gonna be great as far as. He's gonna be great. Like Chicago,
Important member of the community.
Yeah. I honestly think Chicago could use a lot of great.
So when we were doing the Huddle Report, when I was talking to Cody about his picks, and I was trying to strategize my picks, basically trying to basically take all the guys I thought were good and forget about all that because I didn't think the NFL agreed with me. And then meanwhile, they did more than I thought. So that was annoying.
I think it's more.
There was a player that Cody had an idea who the Cowboys could pick. And we go through this exercise every year where every Wednesday night we're all sitting around the campfire here talking about picks,
the pick
making
is in
the
for
final
the Colts,
tweaks,
by the way.
Making the final tweaks to these picks. And what happened to you, Cody?
I don't know.
Okay, so I was looking at the board here, and Dallas selected Tyler Booker.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how many Bookers are in the first round. Probably there's a bunch of Bookers, and numerous Williamses.
Tyler Warren to the Colts.
There's multiple Tylers, of course. Tyler Warren to the Colts was a popular mock draft selection that I didn't have.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I had them going corner, their biggest need, which apparently doesn't matter. But Tyler Booker to the Cowboys, he's not that athletic, but he's a total dog, and you think that was a good pick?
I think it's an interesting one. I mean, the landing spot of they needed a receiver. They wanted a receiver, and they would add a Tyler Warren, something, you remember how much success Jason Witten had there, right? So I thought the theory had legs.
So you put Warren to the Cowboys?
No, you did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I didn't do that.
I didn't
didn't
put
either.
Warren to the Cowboys.
I
No
put
one
Warren
did.
on the Bears.
I had the Cowboys trading back.
I had the
and
Bears.
going guard. I had them taking a guard, but I had them taking a guard from North Dakota.
Yeah.
Gray Zabel.
I had them taking Zabel.
I had the Bears taking Tyler Warren.
Same.
So
So listen, we have a lot of great process here.
Yeah.
We're just not getting the right exact picks.
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't think anybody is.
So, but I'm happy with the process
Yeah.
though. Guard. Okay, tight end. Okay, we're working. Okay, that doesn't count though for the huddle report. Right position to the right team doesn't matter, right? They kind of should.
It doesn't, and that's the one. No,
They kind of should. They should get like a half a point for that.
No, well, in theory, but
Right position,
in theory,
right?
but I'm having interest. I don't get this Colts thing. I understand that the pick makes sense in theory that, Tyler Warren is this big freaky thing that they can move on. But like, think about all these weapons now in Indianapolis. They got the running game with Jonathan Taylor, and they got Josh Downs and Adonai Mitchell and Michael Pittman. And Alec Pierce was a second-round pick, even though, you have your feelings about him. And now they got Tyler Booker in there to add to now 8th or 7th tight end in that room. It's just like so many weapons with this quarterback situation.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like the quarterback situation is so weird. Why not
Do you
why
reset
not
your
get
clock if you take a quarterback here if you're the Colts? Would
Dude,
if you took
dude.
Dart here, listen to me. Cock and maybe takes, I don't care. If you took Dart or if you took Shador, you made a stance here if you're Chris Ballard because you're on the hot seat. If you took a quarterback here, do you reset your clock?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Chris Ballard at this point. I'm not sure that Irsay would reset Chris Ballard's clock with a quarterback pick here. Whenever everybody knows that a quarterback pick here is
A reach.
And I think that Tyler Warren, he's not just a tight end. He's also he
might be more accurate than Anthony Richardson.
He's a wildcat quarterback. He can run the football. He can do everything.
Yeah.
And so I just think a do everything offensive weapon in this offense, whenever tight end is clearly, you say that they have all these tight ends, but really what is it? Jelani Woods and Mo Alley Cox and idiots like this. Are you kidding?
Will Mallory.
Will Mallory, is Kylan Granson still on their
Yeah.
team? It's like those are. It's like they do. You said that they have 8 of them, but they have 0 of them.
Well, now they have 1.
They have 1, and it's Tyler Warren. And here's the thing: Colston Loveland, I think, in dynasty rookie drafts,
Yep.
might need to go ahead of Tyler Warren,
Yep.
given the quarterback situation.
Or hey, I was thinking a lot about this. Tyler Warren in rookie drafts, Colson Loveland in rookie drafts, tight end premium, even super flex. Also, don't forget about super flex. And there's single quarterback, super flex, tight end premium, all these different formats. Dynasty rookie drafts, Colson Loveland. What you want it to this? If you can get tight end production, my God, right? What an advantage, leverage on the field, right? Then you got Tyler Warren. Oh man, talent. Oh man, I'm thinking about these different fantasy formats. Loveland, Warren, Loveland. And here's where I have them. I don't care. I don't want them. They go in the first round. Let someone else have them. My take is I don't care. I don't care about Colson Loveland. I don't care about Tyler Warren. These guys have gone to purgatory. They've gone to fantasy football purgatory. One has tight end targets, that have been reduced. He's got target competition for days in Chicago, and Tyler Warren has target competition plus no quarterback. What are we talking about here? You in every league, in every format, maybe not tight end premium. Maybe if it's single quarterback,
tight end premium.
Then
You're looking at like the
except for single quarterback tight end premium. Loveland and Warren are not first round picks.
We got a super chat that asked that same question, so I'm glad you addressed it. I think you're right.
I think it's probably time to go to the desk. I want to see what the fantasy desk has to say about this.
What kind of projections are we looking at here?
Well, we got to bring in the fantasy desk here.
Yeah, boys, we're liking this landing spot here. This was a huge need for the Colts. I mean, Jelani Woods hasn't lived to expectations. You had Mallory, you had Ogletree, but this is
Tyler Ranson.
Yeah. We got Tyler Warren's going to slide in immediately to a 15% target share. And we think that's really the floor here in this. Targets is going to be about 78, receptions in the low 50s, kicking out immediately at about 570 reception yards and about 4 touchdowns and some change there. And we haven't really even dove into the rushing share. So Alex touched on this briefly, is that this is a special player that can be utilized in multiple areas on the field. And we're going to be updating the numbers here now on the ground as well. And we'll have a little bit more to talk on that soon. But right out the gate, we're loving the landing spot. We're loving the immediate usage that he's going to slide into. And this is a player that's going to make immediate impact here in fantasy.
Yeah, and we were seeing a lot of this was the chalk. This was Ty Warren at 14. I had him mocked there for weeks now. We had seen this popularly by other analysts. The Colts had come out during the combine and said, we need help with the tight end position because they had a 5-headed monster. We didn't know who the Colts tight end was that you wanted. Now we have clarity. We have clarity that it's Ty Warren. And so, as Billy mentioned, about a 15% target share gets him into that conversation of high-end tight end 2. It's all going to depend on what type of touchdown equity he can get. And if he gets some rushing, that's a bonus. The reality is that the Colts want athletic players on their team. They're consistently the highest team in terms of rate of players drafted with high relative athletic scores. So if you look at the players that they draft, Anthony Richardson is a high RAS guy. Jonathan Taylor, high RAS guy. Alec Pierce has the speed. Adonai Mitchell, athleticism through the roof. Are these guys good players? Taylor, yes. Alec Pierce remains to be seen. He has some spike week upside. And I think that's where you're going to see Ty Warren fall in as well. I think that Ty Warren is a better best ball pick, and you don't know when the spike weeks are going to be, but we know that they're going to happen because we've seen the Colts have these high spike week games where they just show up. And that's what you're going to see as well from a Daniel Jones or an Anthony Richardson. The guys are either going to show up and have big games or it's going to be a 0. So we want to be targeting Tyler Warren more in the best ball streets. It's difficult because he falls into that like tight end 13 to tight end 18, depending upon just small little tweaks in the projections. That's how, and that makes him a difficult start in redraft leagues. So you should have more comfort in drafting like a David Njoku or a Jonnu Smith. Those guys are clearly tiers above, but also give you positional safety. Ty Warren, not as positionally safe in the redraft leagues, but I'm more confident drafting him in the best ball.
Yeah, I'd agree with that statement. But at the same time, Bradley, this still may be a good redraft pick because of the absolute necessity at the position for them.
Yeah, the Colts had identified that tight end was a place of need. They didn't need wide receiver. They have Pittman. They have Downs. One of the conversation points we had as we were putting in the projections was Ty Warren is going to operate out of the slot a lot of times, which means that it's Josh Downs who's getting taken off the field many times. He is a short A-dot type of person. So Ty Warren is going to cannibalize some of those Josh Downs targets that we're looking at that we had projected initially. Last year, there were times where Josh Downs had out-targeted Michael Pittman. I think that is going to shift for this year because Ty Warren is going to take some snaps off the field for Josh Downs. All right, very good. Let's see. We've got some more updates. Let's flip to the couch. The couch, or you're giving us the eyes. So let's see what the couch is saying. Shout out to you.
Yeah, that's actually a really good pick.
All right. The Falcons pick is in. They got Jalen Walker. If you think about what their biggest needs were, if you close your eyes, you can imagine that Michael Penix is a good quarterback. I can't dream of that.
Wow.
But Jalen Walker and that defense, seems like a match made in heaven when you consider that they're one of the least they have the least frequency pass rush in the league consistently. They seem to always pick you made this comp, they always pick the wrong one. Do you think this is the right one?
I like this pick. I really do. I feel like the Falcons always end up picking an edge rusher because they have to. And then that edge rusher just ends up being a normal ass edge rusher. We're going to go with the linebacker here. And I think this is a guy who's going to play every down on defense right out of the gate and be an instant impact for the Falcons. And I think that's huge because you had Troy Anderson, who they've been waiting on and waiting on and waiting on, and he just hasn't done anything. So I think it's time you move on from him. We don't need him anymore. And the Falcons are ready here. I mean, obviously they've gone offense the last 3 years. They finally bring in the defense. It's a good pick. I really don't have much more to say. I think that's what they should have done. Either trade back or just take this guy. And that's what they've done.
I think they're pretty set on offense right now.
Yeah.
Especially with Michael Penix and
Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, Mooney. There you go.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Kyle Pitts, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
another breakout. We have been waiting for Kyle Pitts' breakout season for like ever.
Mhm.
So maybe 2025 is it.
I hope, listen, everyone that's tuning into this that has watched me knows that I can't quit Kyle Pitts. I'm still not quitting Kyle Pitts. I'm not excited about Kyle Pitts as a result of this pick, but it does still make the Falcons offense seem like nothing's really changing. And of course, we still have a few more rounds going here, but I do want to kind of come back to Jagger because Jagger said, of course, and I honestly agree with you, at the very least, at a surface level, I don't believe we should be as convinced in Michael Penix as a lot of the fantasy community is.
I mean, we saw the worst in Kirk Cousins, and that is saying something. Consider that we always see the worst in Kirk Cousins on the playoffs year in and year out. And again, we're in a league now where you either have a franchise game-changing quarterback or you are chasing that. And I don't know if Michael Penix is a guy to elevate them. And again, right now, I don't know if Jackson Dart or at this point Shadur. I really don't believe in Jalen Milroe. So yeah, especially when you got to think of who their coach is, you're going to focus on what you do know, which is defense, and you're going to get someone like Jalen Walker, who I think he's one of the three versatile guys who can stand up and play and play off ball and be on the line of scrimmage, and Jalen Walker. But yeah, Penix is someone that I'm not heavily invested in, and I don't want to be, although I am invested in a lot of the targets in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, they've got everyone. You would imagine that the Falcons offense should be good, and they just can't put it together. It would be very Atlanta Falcons for things to continue as they are. I think that the Michael Penix pick last year was a good pick. I think it was the right pick. I didn't have faith in Kirk Cousins. But I also don't think the sample size that we saw from Michael Penix should be taking the hype to where it is right now. I think he's right where he should be, at the very least. And we'll see.
Penix is a good QB, but for fantasy purposes.
Allegedly.
No, but fantasy purposes is different. He might be a good QB for Falcons.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean like he's going to be a top 10 QB in fantasy.
And a big
think
misconception
that's-
of Michael Penix is that he can rush. He's had multiple knee injuries. That's why he was an older prospect. And
Don't
he's
forget the shoulder.
and the shoulder. He's pretty much a pure pocket pass rusher at this point, with enough mobility to get an open first down. So if you think about fantasy upside, you're really depending on him to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns to have a QB1 overall finish, to have a huge spike week, whereas he's just going to be kind of middle of the road QB12 on most weeks.
And that's fine.
Best case scenario.
That's fine.
He might be 2 at 2.0.
Actually,
Yeah,
that is fair to be 2 at 2.0.
I feel a little better than that. I feel a little better than 2
I
at 2.0.
don't. I actually don't. Yeah, I was like,
Tua had like 2 good fantasy seasons.
yeah.
Yeah,
But-
but that's because of Tyreek Hill.
Still,
That's what you need to have that high upside passing. Yeah.
And that's fair. Yeah, Bijan, like, while he may get the receiving yards and the receptions,
and your Kyle
it's not
Pitts.
quite enough. Yeah, and, well, Kyle Pitts. We can call him my Kyle Pitts. I'll just lean into it.
I
but
actually like Kyle Pitts for
I
the
love.
price.
Yeah, for the price, we're gonna keep going with it. The fact that you can trade Tucker Kraft and get Kyle Pitts.
Hey, now, why does this whole house hate Tucker Kraft? for
Why?
me?
Well, we like Tucker Kraft,
Mm.
but we don't love Tucker Kraft.
So you'd rather have Kyle Pitts than Tucker Kraft? You're saying that on camera.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't agree with that, but okay.
That's fair.
Origins. Chaos.
Harrison Jr. is good where he's at. And then I think Greg Dortch is super duper okay. Defense is a massive need. Is this going to be the first big cornerback off the board? I feel like Will Campbell is looking super likely here. If you like Maxwell Harrison, I actually think Jahdae Barron is one of the better cornerbacks here. A lot of people are like, well, he's a slot cornerback. Newsflash, it's 2025. Slot cornerbacks are starters.
That's
And
important.
very important. He's a very sticky corner. He is a excellent tackler, very good in space. So if they would get Jahdae Barron here, I think that'd be an excellent pick, or really any quarterback at this point. Pick is in.
DT.
Walter Nolan. Holy shit. Walter Nolan went super high. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
He played for Ole Miss. He was really good.
Yeah, and he's one that I think could play 3 technique or 5 technique. Get to the passer. He's an incredibly young prospect, violent hands. It's I really love this pick. And Walter Nolan's one where I think the guys in the trenches liked him more than I would think the mainstream mock drafters did. This is a fantastic pick in my opinion. Now, if I'm the Bengals who have 7 minutes left on the clock, I'm excited because you could get Shamar Stewart, you can get Will Campbell. All their needs that are here on the clock are still on the board. Arguably, they could trade down if they wanted to, but this seems to be super scratch. Not a lot of trades in this draft. Has anyone else talked about this on the stream
It's
yet?
just been Jaguars that one trade, and that's. I'll say this, this feels like a draft so far where you're almost more excited to have made the playoffs last year.
No.
Like these guys in the 20s and laters, there's a
Like
ton
a
of
lot of
talent,
value, yeah.
a ton of value left on the board, and you can go any which way as any of these teams. We might honestly see some fireworks to end the night.
Yeah, it's a great point because it's clearly a time where if you can draft for need and best player available towards these later rounds, whereas a lot of these earlier teams are forced to stay put or even trade up to get for a need.
Mhm.
So I think this is a draft for the rich get richer because arguably, especially at defensive tackle, Deion Walker, I think, is the next best on the board that's still available. Oregon's got a guy that is very good. A lot of these trench players can really elevate some of these already great defensive teams like the Baltimore Ravens, or if someone wants to trade up and get someone else as well. So It's intriguing.
That is fair. I do want to say the only thing we haven't talked about here on the couch, Tyler Warren to the Colts, replacing my Jelani Woods. Crushing my heart, literally soared through the heart. How are we feeling about Tyler Warren?
I think Warren's going to be great.
Okay.
I
I think
mean,
Warren's going to be okay. Pittman is not great. I think Warren's going to eat into Pittman's and Josh Downs' targets.
but what about the quarterback situation for fantasy? I think Colston loves.
No, we cannot. We are not plugging Daniel Jones on this stream right now. I'm not letting that happen. Player Profiler Nation, we still believe in Anthony Richardson.
Main desk.
I know it's a hot take. I know it is what it is.
Main
You can't
desk,
give up on him
Rahul
yet.
is plugging Daniel Jones. Are we ready to kick to you now? All right, we're going to kick to the.
Hey, we're back. We are back.
And Matt's feeling good.
We're feeling good. Did you guys see that? We're dropping in this little Origins chaos. Have you seen this little? It's not a full promo. It's just a little tease.
Origins. Chaos.
It's pretty cool. You
Yeah,
like that?
It's nice.
I made a mistake in one of those drafts.
What'd you do?
I got auto picked in the first round because I was at Target with my wife, and I took Colston Love on 106. But I will say I feel a little bit better about it today.
You feel better about
I feel a little bit better.
You feel better about
It was a
it.
top 10 pick.
Okay, top 10 pick, but
It's better. It's better than him going at 14 to the Colts.
there's a Cole and a Colston now
Yep.
in Chicago.
Yep.
That's a little
Cole,
and
hey,
it-
Cole,
and it's-
Colston.
and it's cold there.
And it's cold.
It's cold.
It's not good. So Walter Nolan to the Cardinals. I love that pick. Can you guess why I love this pick? Why do I love this pick?
I think you just got points, didn't you?
I got points. I had Nolan to the Cardinals in the Hunter So yeah, it's been a bad mock. It's not been the best mock season, but I looked at the standings and I'm not even anywhere close to the bottom. I was like, okay, where am I? Second to last, third to last? And I was like, no. It's definitely not going to be great, but it's not going to be as bad as I thought. So Walter Nolan getting the team and pick correct is huge. So happy.
I just want to announce that with that selection, you moved ahead of our good friend Ray Garvin in the mock draft.
Am I ahead of Ray?
You just bumped ahead of him with that selection.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Ray. Walter Nolan, though, man.
I thought that was kind of a no-brainer for the Cardinals.
This is Alex, we love Monty Ossenfort, the GM for the Arizona Cardinals.
And he was pumped to make the selection.
And he's pumped up about pretty much everything he does. He seems like he's a guy that has a high intake of caffeine, or as Dan Campbell would say, a little Pikes, dish, it, right? 5 a.m. type of a situation, all the caffeine in the world. Monty Ossenfort, this right here, this Walter Nolan play at 16 overall for a player that we've talked about, we've heard people talk about as a top 5, 6, 7 talent in the class. And he's a little small for a 3-tech, but I think he can play it, and I think he can sell to a high level. He did it at A&M. He was a high-end prospect in the NIL circles in the transfer portal last year, goes to Ole Miss, is a top 5, 6 talent with off-field question marks, like Jalen Carter a couple of years ago, who fell from the top 5 to 10 to Howie Roseman, another GM that we absolutely love. This is Monty Ossenfort's Jalen Carter, and I absolutely love it. After they go Darius Robinson last year from Missouri, this is an excellent play.
I'm one away from Chris Collinsworth. How about that?
The pig is in for the Cincinnati Bengals, and we are getting word.
If this is Jihad, this is be Jihad Campbell. That's what I had.
I'm sorry, it's not. It is Texas A&M edge rusher Shamar Stewart.
Oh, of course, because I had Stewart going earlier. There you go. That makes sense.
So I had the same. Do I get like a half? I should get a half point. I got the same position and the same college. Wrong player.
Yeah, you should get points. You need to get partial points for that. Let's talk to the huddle report.
Yeah. So we got Shamar going here.
That's a fantastic move.
And you know what? I don't know what this means about
Hendrickson.
Yeah, Hendrickson. I don't know what. I'm kind of, my mind goes to what it means about Mike Green and how he might continue to sort of fall here with the Falcons needed pass rush not being addressed. The Bengals needed pass rush not being addressed.
I have Mike Green falling.
Okay.
To
where?
The Rams.
The Rams. We'll see how they, there's definitely some very, very serious off-field stuff that needs to be worked out with him. But whenever he gets, what Cody, what do you have, 18 sacks at Bowling Green last year?
17 and a half at Marshall.
Or why did I have to say who's from Bowling Green?
Harold Fannin.
Fannin. Okay, yeah.
Tight end though.
Yeah.
Slow. Productive.
Very good.
There's no other Harolds or Fannins in this class.
It's hard to get confused with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you know I never get confused about Jackson Dart. Never confuses.
Wax and Flax and Jackson.
We're starting to get into the territory here where somebody might want to trade up if they think that.
Are we though?
Well,
I'm starting to think that we're just gonna see this game of chicken is just gonna get played.
And Shadur and Jackson Dart our second round picks.
Yeah. I mean, again, it could change in the blink of a hat. Here
wait a second. Oh, no, wait. No. All that matters is team and player, right?
Yeah.
I have Seattle trading up to 12 with the Cowboys to get Matthew Golden. They could still draft him right here.
They could.
This is the Matthew Golden zone. This is the golden hour.
Certainly.
Unless they drafted an offensive lineman to,
they need Golden.
They are absolutely taking Grays Abel from North Dakota State right here.
They should. That would be the right pick.
That's what they're going to do.
Why do you think they're going to do that?
Because
Sam
Darnold can't stand up.
They don't have anything as far as
but I know you're using logic, which we've used before. I
think John Snyder's got some logic.
But have you talked to anyone from Seattle and got an inkling this is the direction they're going?
No, I don't have any source.
Seattle's drafted no guards in the first 3 rounds since 2010. They've traded down 6 times in round 1 in the last 10 years, and 4 of the 12 first-round picks have been tackle. And their guards right now, they drafted Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross a couple of years ago. Guard would make a million times over sense with Grays Abel here, because what we experienced with Sam Darnold last year was that, and his life really at this point in the NFL, is that if there's a lick of pressure,
That's right.
he struggles. And Arizona,
Is that why he failed in New York?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Multiple levels of pressure there, right? There was the pressure that was
We're getting,
figuratively.
We're getting
and
reports now about
physically.
the Seattle Seahawks that they're trying to trade down.
So they've traded down, like I just said, 6 times now in the first round over the course of the last decade.
And so, if they're trying to trade down, who would they be trying to get up above to take before 19, which is Tampa Bay?
Running back, well, Tampa, Broncos, Steelers, you're looking at receiver and running back.
So if it is Golden, but it's wrong team, I don't get any points, right?
So it could
You
be
get no points.
Houston, because Houston, we've heard of Houston's been aggressive. Houston could be making a play to potentially get a receiver that played college football in Houston just a year ago in Matthew Golden, the player you just talked about.
That's right.
To go to Houston to play with Nico Collins.
Nope,
Filling in
the
for that-
Seahawks are not trading down. They are going to have to pick. They tried to trade down. They are not going to be able to trade down.
I'm seeing high fives, fist pounds, fist bumps, pounds,
The pick is in for the Seattle
handshakes.
Seahawks.
Be Golden. Be Golden. Come on.
I kind of
And the
I
pick,
kind of think it's going to be Gray Zabel here.
I want it to be Zabel. I have Zabel going at this pick to the Cowboys.
In some kind of weird trade that you can
Yeah,
talk to.
because I had the Seahawks trading up to get Golden. This would be heartbreaking. If I get right slot, wrong team, that's like one of the most rookie mistakes in the history of mock draft contests.
Alex had Tyler Booker,
No.
who's gone.
Is
I
this
have
really
Matthew
happening?
Golden. You have Matthew Golden. The selection
Zabel?
is
God damn it! Oh, I overthought it.
It's going to be Gray
The
Zabel.
first
That's who I
guard-
had
Oh
in-
my God.
the first guard drafted by John Snyder in the last 15 years in the first 3 rounds of the draft.
Well,
Gray Zabel.
And here's the thing about Gray Zabel.
He's
is
so
that
good.
He's ready to go. He played tackle in college. He dominated the Senior Bowl. He's one of these RAS score monsters.
It's disgusting.
It's just
5'2".
awesome.
he could play center. He could play left guard. He could play right guard. He could play left tackle. He could play right tackle. Like what they need him for is the interior. But the fact that he brings that kind of versatility for a team that we don't, they haven't come out and said this, but the feeling is around the league that they would, the Seahawks would be interested this year in transitioning to just a team that runs.
so
They want to run the football and they want to win with their defense. That's McDonald's vision for this team.
They have completely reshifted this entire offense in 2 months.
So
You feel better about it now? It was Geno, it was Metcalf, it was Lockett, it was JSN.
Now it's Cooper Kupp, it is JSN, it is Darnold,
And it is a-
Kenneth Walker. You can bring in a guy like you bring in a guy like Gray Zabel, who honestly, I'm just looking at him right here with the mustache. and
Instant
I'm remembering
plug.
him from the Senior Bowl. He's a monster, dude.
He's an instant plug.
He's a monster, and you can't say, well, I don't care about the North Dakota State tape because it's North Dakota State, because I've seen him go to the Senior Bowl and go up against the Walter Nolans of the world, the Shamar Stewarts of the world. These guys have already gone off the board. He held up against them so much better than like the Josh Connerlees and some of these other guys.
Ariante Urseri.
Yes. It's a great pick.
It's interesting because there was, thought coming out of the Senior Bowl that this is a guy that's going to jump right into round one. People are like, well, we saw Cody Mock do it. Cody Mock's measurables a little bit better from North Dakota State. He falls to round 2.
Right.
But the Zabel thing just had way too much helium.
And
again,
class is
need-
not as good. This is a weaker class.
much weaker class, and
Yeah.
this is a massive need. And to this point in the draft, we've heard and we heard from the jump 2 weeks ago that need is going to start to be the shift here. And
Did
this
you
is-
guys have Zabel at
this
pick
is
18?
need. No, we had him to the
No.
Colts.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Because-
I had him at pick 18. So
Yeah,
Not
I
13.
in the first iteration of my draft, I did have him at pick 18. I texted Cody and I said I need to blow up my draft to go and get him up to 14.
You did.
I shouldn't have done it. But
That's what we're learning right now. Is it every year, and that's why you set the reminder in your email or your calendars. Don't succumb to the last minute tinker. Don't tinker.
we have
Set it and forget it.
Also, just because McShay hates a player like Tet McMillan doesn't mean all 32 teams hate him.
we
Well,
have
that was the whole.
That was the lesson I learned.
We have Fox Sports insider Jordan Schultz saying that there's a ton of activity at the bottom of this draft with teams looking to trade down. A couple of QB needy teams are making calls to trade.
Okay.
Some of the best
So-
available players right now. Josh Simmons, the left tackle from Ohio State that's coming off a patella tear. Running back Omarion Hampton from North Carolina. You could
And
also-
Simmons also, Cody, do you know anything about this stuff where Simmons, there's also some maturity stuff?
There's some maturity stuff. I haven't heard this, but this is coming from multiple NFL.com sources. Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan, who did not run his 40.
Could slide.
That was the leak that, he could slide because he didn't run. And people are like, he's a low 4.55 guy. Jade Barron, the cornerback from Texas, that many of.
We had said before on our streams all week long that just the way that these things are going to fall, even if we didn't get the exact picks right, we got the positions right.
Yep.
And how people were going to go through this part of the
My
draft.
question for you
Where
is,
Jade Barron comes back live right here, starting right after the Broncos pick.
yeah, it's pretty like one of the chalkier positional need selections is Packers go cornerback. Because now Jair Alexander's up in the air. So the question is,
And
you go
and Eric Stokes is in Las Vegas now.
correct. So they lost Eric Stokes. Yeah, they have a clear need at corner. I think that the hope traffickers wanted them to go wide receiver. That's not going to happen.
They're going to go Jade Barron.
They're going to go corner. The question is, do they go Barron or they go more upside with Hairston?
Dude, well, yeah. I mean, you think more upside just because he's so fast, I guess.
Well, but that's what they like. Kevin King, Jair Alexander, they have a long history.
Yeah, but
Stokes, they have a
also,
long
man-
history of athletic corners being drafted in Green Bay.
But just last year they passed on Cooper DeJean, who's a guy who can play safety, who can play nickel, who played corner in college, who you saw would have, and they see in their own division a guy like Brian Branch, who the Lions had. They can look at Jade Barron and say that can be a guy like that for us.
And again, he didn't. And then he like I understand there's people talking about the slot stuff. We literally watched him win the Thorpe Award playing outside.
He's the Thorpe Award winner playing outside corner. this last
Outside
year.
corner. The pick is in for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we got some fantasy conversation. The wide receiver 2 off the board
Is it golden?
is from the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Emeka Egbuka. Are you kidding
Emeka
me?
Egbuka
Wow, what about Jalen McMillan?
and Chris Godwin.
What about Jalen McMillan? I heard Jalen McMillan was the big hit from last year. Jalen McMillan's elite. I thought Jalen McMillan was everyone should have known Jalen McMillan
Dude,
was the guy to draft
if
from
you-
the third round last year, and he's going to be great.
If you look at where he's going, even an underdog right now, I'm like,
Ridiculous.
it's like people haven't even really at this point baked in the fact that Chris Godwin is good and he is coming back. Right?
What
They're-
about what about
they're pricing
what about a
him
guy
in
named Egbuka?
Yo, this is a disgusting wide receiver room.
What
I
about
mean,
Egbuka?
are you kidding me?
Dude,
How-
you know who's happy is Baker Mayfield.
and my question too also is why did the Bucks do this for one? That's the first thing.
Houston was
I'd
trying
like-
to get ahead of him.
I'd like
No
to.
idea.
I'd like to hear that.
I had Houston getting Egbuka.
That's what I-
God
that's-
damn
that's
it!
what I had
The
too.
other thing is that what this tells us is that Jahad Campbell from Alabama is probably going to fall out of the first round because
This was
there was no other team that needed an inside linebacker. They don't have a starting inside linebacker outside of Levante David, who's not going to even probably be around after the next year or two. There's not even a starter on their team right now, and he's an elite inside linebacker. I think what this shows is that the medicals for Jahad Campbell have been terrible. I would be surprised if he goes in the first round. It's been Will Johnson, it's been Jahad Campbell, the guys that were super worried about the medicals. Will Johnson continues to fall. Jahad Campbell, this was always the spot at 19. If he doesn't go here, who's gonna take a hurt off-ball linebacker with a shoulder issue whenever we know that the shoulder is the death knell?
Howie.
For
Howie.
It's a big no. This is actually a huge problem because Hairston's also on the board. So for Will Johnson, he could easily slip out of the first round because you got 2 quality corners still on the board with Barron and Barron and Hairston still on the board. When you start doing process of elimination, does Johnson slip out of the first round? So these guys that either didn't run or have medical problems or questions.
His only lifeline is Buffalo at what, 30?
Yeah, it's Buffalo.
30.
Well,
Yeah,
dude, you got Philly too at 32.
I have Buffalo taking Will Johnson.
I think this is what's our receiver number? 2.5, our prop,
Yeah.
and that got up to what? Minus 450.
Yep.
This is it.
Says the lock.
This is the big lesson for me with mock drafts.
Dude,
My
what does
first
this
ever mock
mean?
draft.
Emeka Egbuka is like the most kind of, you could consider the most sort of savvy,
Olave,
ready,
baby. Olave.
ready to go
When-
kind of guy. What is like?
What does
this
it
is
mean?
new.
Baker
Wait,
Mayfield.
wait.
Baker
What is it?
Mayfield. Baker Mayfield.
What does it mean for you two? What does it mean for Rosterwatch Nation and their Matthew Golden hype? You guys bringing us all this Matthew Golden reports. Oh, Matthew Golden's
Matthew
the wide
Golden's
receiver,
great.
the wide receiver to watch. Matthew Golden easily could be the first wide receiver
Matthew Golden's
drafted.
great. Are you telling me?
Matthew Golden. All we heard was Matthew Golden.
And you're not going to rank Matthew Golden ahead of Emeka Egbuka when he goes to the Texans here in about 4 picks?
and I'm mocking Matthew Golden. I'm moving him up to 12 because you guys just won't stop with the Matthew Golden. And now where are we? Where are we now with the University of Texas's gem at wide receiver that the NFL is just going to be drooling over? That he is pro ready too. He just didn't produce, but who cares?
Yes,
he's
because-
golden.
yeah, yes, because
he's
there-
fast.
Yes, because
The
there's-
roster watch guys have watched every snap. He's amazing. What happened? Where are you? This is a problem. Did your heart not
This is
sink
not a problem.
when Egbuka went over Golden? Did your heart not sink?
No.
Because you're man.
I don't.
This is your guy.
I
No.
don't understand the Egbuka.
Yes, you do.
I know. I kind of truly don't.
Yes, you do. Godwin is how old and how injured?
But I mean, they just re-signed
Mike
him.
Evans is how old?
I get it. I get it. To me,
McMillan can cross train behind Godwin
me,
and Evans,
right-
and Egbuka is the starting slot receiver. And that
To
is
me,
a sick,
right
sick
here
trio.
in this, to me, right here in this spot, I would have just not thought of wide. Like I would have thought Donovan as Raku. I would have thought Jade Barron. Like those are the things that I would have thought about.
Where did you have Matthew Golden in your mock? Your
I
latest
haven't
mock?
gone to the Rams. 26.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fine.
Yeah.
I thought you had him higher than that.
No, that's why Matthew. But I didn't have Egbuka going in the first round. I probably should have, considering he was minus 600 on DraftKings.
Well, he
To go
was
first
going.
round.
I thought he was going to the Texans. The Texans is a perfect fit. They lose.
Well, but
Tank
no,
I
Dell.
will say that the two of us
They lose
picked up a
Diggs.
point on you because we had Egbuka in the first round.
Wait, you lose a point.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Wait, we might all lose
I
a
can tell
point.
that. I can tell that you're real
Here's how we all,
sad.
you know how we all lose a point? Golden falls out of the
Hey,
first round.
guys, the Broncos are on the clock right now.
All right, let's actually kick it back. We've now given the projection desk plenty of time.
You don't want to respond to the running back that's about to get drafted and then kick the
There's
team?
about to be a
I
running.
mean,
back.
we have to 100% get a running back here, right?
There's about to be a running back.
The Broncos are about to pick.
Sean Payton's in. Yeah, the pick is in for Sean Payton.
The pick is in. Wait, so what is the pick?
I'm not sure the pick. It doesn't say.
Wait,
the
there's
pick
no.
is in.
Wait, what about Dove and all these guys that are tipping picks? What about our reporters that we have out there in the field on Twitter X?
Let's
Well,
see.
Ben Albright's the one we're waiting for.
Where's Ben Albright? Where's our man Ben Albright? He's on the payroll. We pay him to tweet so we can read the tweets.
Did you do Henderson here or Hampton? Because this was a massive conversation among the mock draft community.
I went the obvious, which was I went into the head, I went into the mind of Sean Payton, and his best days were with Alvin Kamara.
the
Well,
Joker.
actually not, but like his days at the end where they were okay and not great, but not could have. Anyway, he had Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
And he had some success running the ball with Alvin Kamara. And Alvin Kamara scored a lot of fantasy points. In some cases, 25 plus fantasy points per game. So that's who I had. I mocked Trevion Henderson to the Broncos.
I think that the reason this is taking so long is that we're getting reports that the Giants are trying to trade right now. If they're trying to trade in right now, I don't think they're trying to get ahead of Somebody trying to trade in right now will be trying to get ahead of 21 to the Steelers,
which is this pick.
But that would be for Shadur Sanders, who I don't think the Giants
don't want him.
Want.
Reportedly, the Giants do not want him.
But then it could be Jackson Dart.
If they worry about maybe Jackson Dart could be the guy for the Steelers, and they could be going with another. That's the thing with the Steelers, man. They always get these picks at like 17, 21, all this, like this kind of Kenny Pickett range.
The pick is
in. So the Broncos made the pick. We'll see if it's Travion. We'll see if it's Omari and Hampton. The tides have been shifting this week towards Travion Henderson. I've begun to think that it's probably
Travion Henderson is the flat circle play. Right? That was the joker. Him and Loveland were the jokers. That was our first conversation we had after the combine, right? And then everything went to Omari and Hampton for whatever reason.
And he's also the best pass protector in this draft.
Best pass catcher.
Best pass catcher. Like what else could you want?
That's the pick.
Jahdae Barron.
Jahdae Barron to the Broncos.
Jahdae Barron.
Travion Henderson's looking like a chief every morning.
The Broncos took Jahdae Barron.
Oh my fuck. Let's go to commercial. Oh my God. Hey guys, oh God.
Thanks,
Jahdae
Thanks.
Barron.
Why do we partner with the FFPC? Because they have the widest variety of fantasy football formats, and it's the easiest place to find all types of fantasy football contests in the world. What if you want to play for high stakes? Well, they have a $6 million prize pool with their Fantasy Players Championship. They also have way too early best ball leagues that start in February and Dynasty leagues. They have the closest thing to a liquid market for orphans that there is in all of Dynasty. And the FFPC has sponsored us for half a decade because we are actually delivering information that can help fantasy gamers, and they're generating so much interest and bringing in so many new users, casual users even. The FFPC creates a unique experience where you can both compete against the best and make money. Use promo code UNDERWORLD to get $25 off your first team. $25 off your first team at the FFPC with promo code UNDERWORLD. Go get it!
Hey, everybody here. The projections desk, a little bit of a head scratcher here at pick 19 for the Buccaneers. I mean, this is a team that just re-signed Chris Godwin. They had already re-signed Mike Evans last year. They drafted Jalen McMillan last year. So a little bit of a head scratcher here. We're starting to be a little concerned now about the readiness of Chris Godwin here for week one and maybe into the first half of the season. That's the only logical explanation here other than trying to build for the future. But Egbuka right now, starting off our projections at about 12% here, which is about 66 targets here year one, 43 receptions. That gets him to just about 500 receiving yards and about 3.1 touchdowns. This is a crowded room. This team actually has 0 vacated targets across the board, across the entire team. So while doing these projections, we actually had to steal from every single player, which is abnormal when we're doing these. We normally have to, plug into a spot that we had kind of allocated for a draft spot, but this team is already plugged and played. We actually had to insert him and steal from the entire organization. Bradley, what do you feel about this pick?
Yeah, it's a tough one initially, but I think that there's we talk about like these are median projections. These are like where we think you roll the dice on average. This is how it's going to play out. I think there's still upside that exists with Egbuka. You mentioned that Chris Godwin, we have concerns immediately that he may not be able to return right away for week one. This is if Egbuka is starting in 2 wide receiver sets in week one, that's a major win, and that could blow the projections out of the water. If he's playing alongside Mike Evans and that is it. We saw hyper targeting last year of Cade Otton, who had like a 14.5, 15% target share. Some games he was the number 1 target for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it could be that Egbuka just moves into that wide receiver 2 role. And yes, Godwin is signed through the next 2 years, but Mike Evans, This is it. The Buccaneers have an out after 2025. So this is not only a possible win for this year, just in case. It is an insurance policy for 2025 with Chris Godwin, but also this is a dynasty play. So yes, there is some immediate trepidation. If someone in your dynasty leagues is feeling a little bit worried, do not worry. Like, we have trust in Baker Mayfield. We've seen what fantasy goodness he can provide for a Cade Otton, for a Jalen McMillan. I think it is within the range of outcomes that within the first couple of weeks that it's Egbuka who takes over for McMillan. They don't invest this type of draft capital in Egbuka to not play him right away.
Yeah, but this is something we have to monitor throughout training camp. I mean, we want to see how involved McMillan still is, what they're utilizing in terms of formations with Cade Otton, how often they're going to be utilizing him now. Do we see Egbuka eat into that target share? There's a lot of variables here when we're talking about this team because there's so many mouths to feed now. Not to mention you have Rachaad White, who's been a capable pass catcher, not primarily effective on the ground, but you had Bucky Irving who broke out last year, who showed that his versatility, not only on the ground, but also in the passing game. So there's a lot of mouths to feed. There's a lot of ways that this team can focus on a week-to-week basis. I could see that being kind of the dagger in people's lineups, is that they're having to pick and choose every single week of who's going to be the primary target on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, that's a tough spot. At the same time, Egbuka has proven over the last few years at Ohio State, wide receiver that he can play alongside with another very good wide receiver, whether it was Jeremiah Smith, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. We've seen him produce alongside other wide receivers, and that's what happens here in Tampa Bay. He is going to immediately play alongside Mike Evans. He could long-term play alongside Chris Godwin, both players 29 or older. This is also an opportunity where he could evolve into a Tyler Lockett for long-term, where he could be the wide receiver one in Tampa in 3 years and be a top 12 wide receiver.
You know, Bradley, one might say that this is chaos inside of the wide receiver core here for the Buccaneers. And speaking of chaos, if you haven't tried the Fast Draft Chaos Draft, you better get into it now with the promo code CouchGuy for $100 match. That's the most we've ever done at Fast Draft.
Couch Guy, one word, Couch Guy.
One word, Couch Guy, $100 match, and you get to participate in the chaos just like the Buccaneers did here.
That's right. Jump into the Fast Draft streets. Use promo code Couch Guy, one word. Origins Chaos.
Origins. Chaos.
Speaking of couches, should we kick it to the other couch?
I don't know. Jagger is there at the couch. It looks like Jason has his shirt off. Cody is at the main desk. I think we're just going to hold down. Here we go. The Steelers have selected Derek Harmon at number 21 overall. Shedeur Sanders' hopes and dreams of getting drafted by the Steelers in round one is good. That's right. It is dashed. Sanders was oftentimes mocked here. There were concerns that Sanders would fall out of round one. Now, there are reports that the early round two picks of the Browns, who still don't have a quarterback, the Giants, who have just Russell Wilson under a one-year deal, could be in play for the Bills, for the Chiefs, for the Philadelphia Eagles pick here at the end of the first round. It may not even be Shedeur Sanders. It may be Jalen Milroe. It may be Jackson Dart. There are options here at the end of the draft that teams who are in the early round two feel the need for quarterback and would move up because of the fifth year option. That is very much in play.
If we don't see a trade to move up, it's going to be, I think, highly unlikely that he's picked with the remaining teams on the board. I mean, maybe, man, I think it's unlikely here. I mean, there's most of this, the second half here that we have, or even the tail end of this draft here, there's no quarterback uncertainty. I mean, these teams have their starters,
right?
You could argue that the Rams are at the tail end with Stafford, and they're going to be looking for somebody, but I don't think that's a good fit.
This is also one of those situations where the rich could get richer, Billy, in terms of if these teams at the end of the draft, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Lions, they're already Super Bowl contenders. And what are you going to do? You're like, well, sure, I'll give you my late round pick, but you got to pay up. You got to draft for need. We're not drafting for need. We're drafting for luxury. We're already in a position to compete for the ultimate Super Bowl championship. Like, that's the goal of these teams. So there is a massive amount of leverage that these playoff teams have over the pretenders, over the teams who don't have quarterback. So this is a situation that like you don't envy.
We got the Chargers on the clock here. Looks like we got the couch coming together again. Why don't we kick it over to the couch? See what they're thinking about Igbokwe here over at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from a fantasy impact.
All right, so Chargers on the clock. I do want to go back. I had a take about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Emeka Egbuka going there. I think, and this is the beauty of Dynasty, right? We're going to be able to play this perfectly well. Emeka Egbuka right now is definitely going to make the value of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin fall. They're going to have a great 2025 season. Both of those wide receivers, I'm taking those guys in redraft without a doubt. I'm buying them right now in Dynasty without a doubt. At the end of the year, I'll be hopping back in. I'll be getting Egbuka. I'll be getting Jalen McMillan. Give me the Jalen McMillan shares at the end of the year. Right now, though, I'm scooping up some Evans. I'm scooping up some Godwin. I still think those guys are going to have huge seasons this year.
I think you nailed it. Like, I think Emeka Egbuka, his entry point is going to be week 4 if he's not getting the snap share that a lot of people think. And I think Jalen McMillan is someone that has value because right now the Buccaneers, we forget that they're a playoff team. They're still competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking at this as a reload and not so much a rebuild. And you can't think about it like fantasy. You know, you got to think about it as a football team where like, okay, we can let these guys sit.
Yeah.
Mike Evans and Chris Godwin have a 1-year deal left in the
Yep.
contract.
Yep.
And Egbuka is like a perfect Mike Evans replacement for them.
I think Godwin closer and McMillan's
Yeah.
Excuse me. Did you say Egbuka is a Mike Evans replacement?
Oh, okay. You're talking.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you.
Egbuka is a Mike Evans replacement? In what world is he like anything like? Isn't he the most polar opposite player to Mike Evans you've ever seen?
Chris Godwin. Thank you. He's Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin?
Yeah.
Mike Evans?
Okay.
No one
Put him on microphone timeout.
Oh, Raul
I thought he was wedding me.
I'm just like excited with my Seahawks.
Oh, say it. Give it. You've been waiting for this moment, dogs.
Yes. Talk about your Seahawks.
I am so happy about my Seahawks getting an offensive line guard. We have never drafted an offensive guard in like fucking 50 years.
Mhm.
So pretty excited about that. So I'm just like speechless. So I'm going on a timeout right now.
That's fair.
Kenneth Walker, baby. We back. I want you to put the word up that we back up.
It was never not Kenneth Walker's season.
for sure, but like the streets didn't know. Now
The
they
streets know. The streets know now. Kenneth Walker to the moon
Mhm.
forever and always until he's hurt from weeks 12 to 15. It'll be Zach Charbonnet for those few weeks.
Mhm.
And it is what it is. We accept that. Back to the Buccaneers. So I'll just ask you, who do you think scores wide receiver 1 this season between the team?
Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin. I don't know. I'm still a Mike Evans guy for sure on this team. Forever and always.
Mhm.
But I do think it's both. As I said at the beginning of this take, it's Godwin, it's Evans, and then the rest.
Can we talk about the quiet part out loud?
Yes.
Shadir Sanders is cooked, y'all. I'm sorry. It's over, probably. It's over. Like, we literally joked that he was going to be a Steeler or he's going to be cooked. Is he a Steeler?
Not yet.
Okay.
Leaving the door open for a trade.
It's really late in the game.
It's late.
He's looking cooked. Well, this is the point in the draft where we could see a lot of trade-ins at this point.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about the teams back at the top of the second. The Giants could trade back up and get a QB. That'll actually be kind of ideal if they can get a 5th-year option and Shadir Sanders at a significant discount. The Browns could trade back in. It's still a possibility, but like everyone talking about Jackson Dart, that looks pretty bad at this point. Same thing with Jalen Milroe.
Isn't Milroe present?
Yeah.
Man.
Who do you think goes first, Milroe, Sanders, or Dart at this point? I don't even know.
God, I mean, I'm not gonna. I cannot believe that Shedeur Sanders would fall this far. Like, and I know it's happening. I know it's been talked about the past week, but I've been refusing to believe it. I'm still not going to jump off of it.
Well, it feels like, and again, when you think about the interviews, it feels like he went in like Kenny Powers or something like that, or like Ricky Bobby coming in and just pure arrogance, saying like the 5 greatest quarterbacks ever are Shedeur, and Shedeur. Exactly. Like, yeah, like that. He's just saying wild shit and people hate him. So like, and that's on me. I still like the tape, but I think the attitude and your dad living on top of that is a huge factor. The Chargers are at the 30-second mark, and you have to wonder, are they scrambling because the tight ends are off the board at this point?
They definitely thought a tight end would be here.
Yeah, like
100%.
You think Loveland or Warren would be going here at this point?
Harbaugh has been dreaming of Loveland for the past month.
And turns out the rest of the NFL was as well. Now they have 5 seconds left. Do you think they go Hampton here? Henderson makes more sense if you think about Najee. They want to do that. Oh, the pick is in.
They've got to pick like
that means we know who the pick is at this point. Rahul, you got something for us? Nothing?
Nothing.
Damn. And remember, while we're waiting on this, we still have the Fast Draft Origins Chaos Draft going right now. You can use code CouchGuy for $100 deposit match. And granted, you can get in right now to Origins Draft that is filling up, but we have our Flex 4 that is coming in, which means it's just standard redraft, baby, with the exception that we're only starting 4 and no QBs, so you can still get a lot of these positional advantages. Oh!
Wow. So the Chargers are picking Omarion Hampton.
You got one. You got one. You got one.
I got that. I'm dominating this mock draft contest.
He got one. He got one.
There's the one. Matt Kelly got it, ladies and gentlemen. Omarion Hampton to the Chargers. Obviously a fantasy relevant pick. Obviously the Chargers want to run the ball. The question we're asking, the sirens in the background, is Najee Harris dead? My immediate answer is
he's not alive.
He's not alive.
Yeah.
I think they can take their time. I want to stress this right now. The NFL will approach this. Jim Harbaugh will approach this in a patient way. Omarion Hampton's not going to get all the snaps right out of the gate. Is he going to be the running back you want in Dynasty on this offense? Yes. But they just signed Najee Harris. He has some tread left on the tire. They're going to use him, and more than likely, they're going to use him at the early parts of the season. I think there's a good arbitrage opportunity, especially in redraft leagues with Najee Harris right now. You can get Najee Harris. You can sell him halfway through the season. He's not just going to be nothing. There's no way he's going to be nothing. We've seen first-round running backs get picked and not get the snaps immediately. Go to Jahmyr Gibbs just a couple years ago. Still, Jahmyr Gibbs is sharing the field with David Montgomery. I understand that we want to get excited about Hampton right now. He's not going to be an every single carry running back right out of the gate. He just won't. And so I think that there may actually be a little bit of value. You're gonna have to play it careful.
That's a lot of confidence, and I can't argue against him right now. I just don't know. I know that I've been big on Najee, but it's more of like maybe both of their values have went down in redraft this year, but Omarion Hampton's dynasty value is clearly super high.
Yes, 100%.
But going by Najee's contract, he signed a $9 million contract.
Yeah.
And
that's a lot for running
that's
back.
a lot
That's
for
a
running
lot,
back.
yeah.
So they're not going to not just use him. He's going to get
Right.
at least like 10 to 15 carries.
I think it'll just be early in the year. They're going to overload him. But, I mean, we just saw this last year. I mean, remember how excited we were about Kamani Vidal. They bring in these rookie running backs. They have the athleticism. But they still gave the ball to J.K. Dobbins, who's coming off an injury. They still gave the ball to Gus Edwards, who's dust.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm not going to get over the moon on this. I can't. I can't.
And we could still say it like there's real steam that Trevion Henderson goes to the Chiefs. And even though Omarion Hampton went first, I think Henderson to the Chiefs has more value both short term and long term. And again, this isn't me saying a Hampton. So you should be excited about this.
This is a
landing
great pick.
spot.
This is amazing.
Yeah,
This is amazing.
it's just patience is what we're talking
Yes.
about year one and how you can play it, where you could probably buy Hampton much cheaper later than you can right now. And you could buy Najee and flip him. And if you have Najee, because I told you to, think about flipping him. You're going to hold him now. And then when he has his value, then you're going to sell high and flip him later.
Right. Yeah, it's careful.
Yeah. Fantasy football is not so much black and white as it is a lot of gray areas, and you're going to play a lot of 4D chess. With that being said, while we went on this Green Bay pick, is it a good time to go over to our projections desk so they could talk about those splits?
Please.
Yeah, we're still plugging in the Chargers right now. We're close though.
We're getting
So
there.
yeah, we are working on it. Let me take a look at where the Chargers pick. Certainly the Najee Harris was he was signed as a priority free agent this year.
Yep.
He carried the rock over 300 touches last year for Pittsburgh. That's a massive hole that the Pittsburgh Steelers still need to fill. But now the Chargers get their guy. It was Omarion Hampton. I did mock to the Chargers. Billy is my witness here. So they get their guy, and you have to wonder if Najee Harris handles more of the first and second down work as the between the tackles bruiser. That's kind of been his shtick. And one of the things that Billy and I were discussing as we were putting in the projections was, yes, Harris had a 10% target share last year for the Steelers, but remember, Jaylen Warren was injured. He was out for some time. He definitely wasn't himself. He lost some dynamism, and that forced Najee Harris to not just carry the ball more, but also get more receptions. So Harris focusing on just between the tackles, and then Omarion Hampton being a little bit more of the third down back, 38 receptions last year for North Carolina, 11.3% target share, tentatively about a 10% target share right now for the projections desk. Billy, what else about Omarion Hampton?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting economy in this backfield because we know that Harbaugh likes to use two running backs. They really like to, be a ground and pound team in the past. Last year, despite having a lack of weapons in the backfield, they got the most out of Dobbins, and they were able to utilize, a lot in the ground game still without us. We were projecting last year the ground game for them was going to struggle a bit,
sure,
because they just didn't have the pedigree. They didn't have the talent that we were there. We were always concerned about the health. Now they get two great backs. They got Hampton here. They have Najee. Najee's been a little bit underrated, I think, in his career so far. He's been very, very viable in the goal line. He can pass catch. He can also be very useful in short yardage. So I think that's going to be his role here with the Chargers. I think Hampton does slide into this pass catching role.
Yes.
And I think he'll be utilized and sprinkle in on ones and twos, and we'll probably see series together.
Yes.
Or I should say their own series, I should say. But the original projections right now, I got them at about 173 rushing attempts and 730 yards. That's on the ground, and about, just about 6 touchdowns.
That's about right.
And then we, all the way in the passing game, we both have them here about 10% target share to start, which is 54, 55 target range. It's 41 receptions, another 261 yards in the air, and another, 1.5 scores. So this is going to be a very interesting piece to watch throughout camp. As we get closer, we're going to understand how they're being utilized more out of the backfield. But I think this puts him pretty steadily in the, running back 17 through 20 range.
Yeah, my projections have him at running back 24, but we're talking about, and that's in half PPR scoring, where we think Najee Harris is going to get the majority of goal line work. In full PPR settings, I think top 20, top 18 is definitely within the range of outcomes for Omarion Hampton, despite the fact that he's going to share the workload with Najee Harris. That's taking all of that into account. So we do like this landing spot. We know that Harbaugh likes to run the ball. That's what he did at Michigan for years. That's what he did when he was in San Francisco.
Yep.
And that's what we saw last year. We saw, especially at the beginning of the year, Justin Herbert's pass attempts. He was barely getting to 30 pass attempts in a game because they were handing the ball off to J.K. Dobbins. So
they love to run the ball here with Jim Harbaugh. And it's something he's done throughout his entire NFL career, his college career. They're going to rely on this running game. And now they got two dynamic. People are going to hate me for saying it, but I actually like Najee. He's been underrated. Now they got two steady backs here. Lightning and Thunder per se.
Oh, yes.
And I think
This is a copycat league, and this is what the Lions did to compete. Jameer Gibbs. This is Amarian Hampton is almost a Jameer Gibbs, like that type, catching the ball out of the backfield, a dynamic player.
We're talking about 91st percentile burst score, 94th percentile speed score. We got our Lightning and Thunder here for the Chargers, and I'm excited to see how it unfolds.
Absolutely. Let's kick it over to the main desk. We've got a couple more picks coming in. The Packers are on the clock here, and here we go. Main desk.
All right, here we go. Let's go.
Matthew Golden.
Hey, man, Gutekunst was there. That fucks up my mock, man.
23 years in the making, the Green Bay Packers selected wide receiver in round 1 for the first time since Javon Walker
And he becomes,
in 2002.
honestly, he becomes wide receiver 1.
Did you guys have him to the Packers?
No, I have him at 26.
It's awesome.
But,
Matthew Golden, I mean, this
Man,
is
I saw Brian Gutekunst at Texas Pro Day. I'm like, man, he's here for Barron. But he was there for Golden. Les Snead was also there.
and so was Mike Vrabel.
I like the guy's name, by the way.
Brian Gutekunst. He's a real Gutekunst, man.
He's a great guy. Great name. I like good names, you know?
Are we on air?
Yeah, we're live.
No. Okay.
Yeah, we're 100% live.
What does this do for this wide receiver room? Because the take that we got from some sources at the Combine was that this was going to be Dontavian Wicks' opportunity this year. But I will say the theory that you hear was very similar to that Xavier Legette thought of, we're going to give him every opportunity with the coaching staff that we have to make him the best receiver he can possibly be. And again, Dontavian Wicks was a 4th-round pick. And like this is going to be Matthew Golden walks in and he's the ounce on day
Look,
one.
man, Romeo Dobbs isn't it. Dontavian Wicks isn't it. Jaden Reed is who he is.
Christian
and
Watson.
He's a very disappointing fantasy asset, but he's a great actual NFL player. And then you figure that Watson, November before he's ready?
Yeah, he's a 0 this year pretty much.
So bring in Matthew Golden, who, dude, say what you want to, like, I could talk for days. Like, what do you want to talk about with Matthew Golden? I don't even know where to start.
Can we just do this for once for this whole show? Because I'm the producer this year and I have a bad shoulder and I've been fighting my computer. We swapped the computer out. That's what solved the issue, by the way, if anyone's curious about our technical issues. One thing that has been forgotten, which we can't forget, and we need to make sure that we give it the proper respect. The pick is in. It's Matthew Golden.
Yeah.
I love it. First time. 20 picks it took us to get there.
It did.
3 years. And here's the best part, man, is we've been talking about
Javon Walker
for the last decade with Rodgers, and they
Javon Walker.
and they do it while they're hosting. So we're not listening to TV because they're actually announcing it right now. So technically, Ted Thompson, in his glory, is going to be announcing to
Is Golden there?
100,000.
Golden's not there, is he? I would love it if Matt could be there in Green Bay to see this crowd, but I don't think he's there.
Do you think
I
that
think he
played
is.
any part in this?
Is he one of
I
the
think
17?
he is.
I would love it if Matt.
3
is
of them
there.
dropped. I know Jackson Dart dropped.
Shadur dropped.
No, Shadur was never in. Jackson Dart dropped. Josh Simmons dropped. Let's see if they got a camera on him. Matthew Golden here. Did this thing should erupt because they've been wanting receiver for literally 20 years look at that. That's so sick. Matthew Golden, Texas. They got to have a camera on him. Where's he? There he is. He's in the back.
Matt is there, dude. He gets, dude.
Oh my God, he's coming out.
He's coming out. Look at him. He's even wearing kind of a green shirt.
Oh, he looks great.
He deserves this so much.
Oh my God, this is so cool.
Mr. Clutch, anytime you need the big play, always there. And a guy who just got better and better through the course of the season at Texas, due somewhat to Isaiah Bond getting a little bit hurt, and then Isaiah Bond doing Isaiah Bond things, and maybe kind of taking
Isaiah Bond's no good.
Taking his own health into consideration over everything else, and you can't blame him for it. But certainly,
I can blame him.
Well, it's a knock against him, but it felt like, Isaiah Bond towards down the stretch for the Texas season made a little bit of a business decision.
Props to
how
Roster
active he was
Watch
going
for
to be.
being. Props to you guys. I'm so proud of you guys being so high on Matthew Golden.
Look, like I was not high on Matthew Golden coming into this season at Texas. I wasn't. A transfer coming out of Houston. Dana Holgerson said he's the epitome of a perfect Z wide receiver. I thought Texas was bringing him in to be a guy that would, play the Z wide receiver, sort of be the wide receiver 2 to Isaiah Bond and help with kick return. What he ended up being was a player who had the hands and the feet and the contortion ability across all sectors of the football field that reminded you.
He's look at him.
Look
at him. He's on the stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people.
He has a lot of Odell Beckham to him. He has a lot of Odell Beckham Jr.
Look at this. This is like Live Aid. He's at Live Aid waving his own jersey.
I'm so happy for Matt.
This is incredible.
He's a great guy. And
let's be honest, Green Bay still sucks.
Do you know what the thing I'll always think about Matthew Golden is that Texas had a group of skill players at the combine in Jaden Blue, Isaiah Bond, and Matt Golden. And you had two guys there saying, in Jaden Blue and Isaiah Bond, saying, we're going to break Xavier Worthy's record. We're going to break 4.21. Loudly saying it, declaring it.
Well, Isaiah Bond's a fraud.
Matthew Golden gets up there. He doesn't claim any big stuff. He doesn't do any. It's just typical Matthew Golden. He was still he towards the end of the season, a lot of these Texas players were banged up. Man, they played how many games, Cody? Was it 17, 18 games?
Yep.
They banged up dudes, right? And he was still dealing with some stuff. I think it was a little bit of a groin that he was still dealing with at the combine. And so I asked him, I said, "Are you going to do all your testing?" And he said, "No, I'm just going to run the 40." And he didn't give any thing about, I'm about to go break the record, I'm about to do anything else like this. And all he does is go out and run a 4.29. There's no testing after that period at all. He didn't need to. With what he was able to do through the second half of the season, especially in the SEC championship game and through the college football playoff, and then to put that 4.29 on it, whenever you didn't really see that 4.29 speed, which honestly is kind of, you think back a little bit to Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah.
Who, you're like, I was never asked to be a 4.29 player at Texas. Like Adonai Mitchell was never asked to be a 4.38 player at Texas. You didn't know that he was that fast. And man, I can't, like, I'm happy for him. He's going to be an awesome player. He enters the Green Bay Packers wide receiver room as wide receiver 1.
Yes,
and I don't see him. I don't see him relinquishing that one bit.
Let me tell you one thing. The pick is in for the team that's actually the best in the NFC North. But I do want to say that you do have some hate in the comments, Alex, that they say that's disrespectful to OBJ, by the way. But the pick is in for the Minnesota Vikings. They did not trade out. They instead took offensive linemen, multi-positional offensive lineman from Ohio State, Donovan Jackson.
Who took him?
Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, no. Not the Texans. Well, at least I have him in my mock. At least I have him.
This is now an elite. Well, it's been a top 10. Now it's an elite offensive line with Christian Darrisaw, Donovan Jackson, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, and Brian O'Neill.
Look, and
I didn't have him going in the first round. Damn it!
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Yeah. I'm not saying that Matthew Golden is Odell Beckham Jr. I'm not saying him. What I'm saying is there are shades of Odell Beckham Jr. to his game, and if you just go watch back, guys, go watch back the Clemson game, go watch back the Arizona State game, go watch back some of these games, and tell me that he does not have plays that remind you of Odell Beckham Jr., Stephon Diggs. It's the same. It's the exact same play style. You add on the 4.29 speed, it's like, I mean, it becomes really obvious if you know what you're looking for.
Well, the chat says Golden sucks, bro.
Okay.
So, but I think, listen, trade alert, the Houston Texans, trade alert, Houston Texans have traded.
They've traded out. So who to the New York Giants. And so now we'll see if they come up for Jackson Dart or whether it's for Shedeur.
So our mocks,
I think it's for Jackson Dart.
our mocks had neither the Giants moving up. You had
I had the Saints moving up for Dart, but
correct.
But the Giants are about to take Dart.
Yeah, and I had the Saints trading up for Dart as well, and the Browns up for Shedeur. It looks like Joe Shane's on the phone. He's trying to fix the failure that he had in 2024 by surpassing on what his son said to take Jaden Daniels. They already have Abdul Carter in this draft, and now at pick 25, they move up 8 spots from 34 to 25 with the Houston Texans. The Texans have been trying to move up and down actually throughout this draft. We don't have the draft compensation in quite yet, but it looks like the pick is in for pick 25.
I had one final question.
Adam Schefter, source says pick 25 for pick 34, 99, and a third. 34, 99, and a third. So 2/3, 2026 third, 2025 third, 34. They move up 9 spots from 34 to 25.
I just had a question before we wrap up Matthew Golden talk. Do you think that had anything to do with it? That they had to impress hundreds of thousands of people? Do you think that made any impact on their wanting to splash with a wide receiver? Because, okay, we're between these two guys. We're 51-49. We're going to go Maxwell Hairston, someone who's not at the draft that no one's heard of, or Matthew Golden.
No, man. I think that so it sounded like this is gonna be Jackson Dart for this pick, so we'll talk about it in a second. But I think that Gutekunst, I saw him at Texas Pro Day. He was at Emeka Egbuka's Pro Day. He was at Ted McMillan's Pro Day. He was at, I believe, Luther Burden's Pro Day. And so Gutekunst has always been a guy that if he kind of wants to get his hands on you, right? As a GM, one of these, get his hands on you as a GM, see him live. And so I feel like we should have known that Green Bay was live for a wide receiver, even though they've never taken one.
It's fine. It's just an interesting question. Yeah. But I can see them not wanting to go and have the audience having to look up the player's name.
Have it be like offensive lineman Donovan Jackson from Ohio State.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Anyway. All right. Right. Okay. So the Giants have traded up. The pick is in. It is.
I don't know.
Jackson Dart.
I think that they're saying it's Jackson Dart. So Dart. Is it Dart?
Yeah. Funny enough, so I had the trade at 24 and 26. You had traded 24, and it's a trade at 25, right between them.
Yeah.
So we lose on the Texans, who fall out of the round, but you and I both missed that pick anyway with Egbuka and Don Jackson. Who'd you have the Texans taking at 20?
It is Jackson Dart. I had them picking Egbuka, but now that Egbuka's off the board, it makes sense that they go Jackson Dart. In my defense, from my mock, the one thing I'll say is I did have Dart going ahead of Sanders, so I can at least sleep at night knowing that.
Yo, does this buy Joe Shane and Brian Dable time?
3 more years?
Does it?
This is great. If you're them, this is what you want to do. You want to fix the quarterback position without having to invite Dion as a potential shadow coach.
Jameis, Jackson Dart. Like, Jackson Dart's going to play this year.
Can you imagine if they had
Dart's got
Russ
some Russ
and Shedeur Sanders?
Dart's got some Russ in him.
I wonder whether Mara.
Wait, so Dart, what do you mean Dart has some Russ in him?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
What do you mean?
His play style. He's got some Russ in him.
Oh, I thought you meant like
he's bigger. He's big. He's
of course
bigger,
he's bigger.
sturdier guy.
I'm talking. You know how I comp. I comp play style. I'm saying like his play style, the moon ball, the system, the pocket presence, the style that Dart plays with. I hadn't thought of him before in that setting. I think the comp I had for Dart before was like Jimmy Garoppolo, but I like now thinking about Russ and him together, it's like I feel really good about Russ. And I think that's perfect spot because, yeah, do you think Dart could probably come in and like run an offense in year one? Probably. He just ran a pretty NFL offense with Lane Kiffin.
Well,
I think he could probably come in and do it. But I'm saying he doesn't have to.
Well, it's like, but in Kiffin's offense, it's different route. It's different route concepts off of the.
We have another
the
trade.
same plays.
The Falcons are moving back into the first round with the Rams at pick 26. The Atlanta Falcons moving up.
Oh, please tell me they're going to move up for Mike Green.
The Falcons are moving up.
Pierce.
Dude, they're going to move up for Mike Green.
From pick 46. They have 5 overall selections in this draft: 15, 46, 118, and 2 7th-round picks. So
Mike
literally
Green.
3 picks in the first 2 days.
Dude, the edge rush has been historically bad, man.
No, they can't do this because I had the Rams getting Green. If they do this and they screw me because of I'm gonna be.
Well, just so we're clear, Alex, that we're both wide open on the Falcons. Still, I have Pierce and you have Green.
I have Pierce too. I had Pierce going at pick 15. I got in your head a little bit with some of these picks. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Damn.
So the Falcons already took Jalen Walker, right?
Yeah, they might not.
And one more, could you imagine? So for all the years,
if they take Jalen Walker and Mike Green,
listen. For all the years that Terry Fontenot has went offense, he goes in and potentially let's not crown him yet, but he goes and potentially completely redeems himself.
What about Will Johnson?
Would also be pretty sick.
Will Johnson. That's very
but who are they moving ahead? So who is it 27 again? I forgot.
Rams were at 26.
So who's at 27? I forgot.
27 is Ravens, Lions, Commanders.
So are they moving ahead of the Ravens to get like a Malachi Starks?
Josh Simmons is there. Will Johnson, Mike Green,
Nick Emanwari,
Travion Henderson, Emanwari, Starks, double Georgia
Starks or Emanwari, something like that. Like I could see that, but I think that Mike Green here would make just a ton of sense as a situational pass rusher. They need to just say we addressed the pass rush. We finally did it, and we not only got Jalen Walker, but we also brought in our situational guy here in Mike Green.
So the trade details have not
It's next year's first and this year's second.
Oh, they gave next year's first?
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
There's no way that they gave next year's first.
No, they didn't.
Falcons trade number 46, 242nd pick in the first round in 2026 for Rams 26.
They have to begin
And 101. And they get a third round.
Fontenot's an idiot.
Oh, they get the 3rd round pick.
Terry Fontenot is a complete fool if that's the pick.
That's crazy.
Hey, we come over here and read that off.
26, 242,
Okay,
and 2026 first round pick. So 46, which is again like 13 picks into round 2 this year, 242, and next year's first for the Rams 26. They moved up 20 spots.
Oh no.
They also got 101, which is the last pick of the 3rd round.
For a non-quarterback.
No.
Terry Fontenot's an idiot, guys.
No.
He's a
told
complete
you,
idiot.
This draft is draft day. This is draft day.
I mean, let's see what he goes and gets. I don't know the player that.
Okay.
Dude, are you serious?
Pick is in.
Okay.
Pick is in.
We have an update. Origins Chaos is closing in at 90% full.
Oh baby.
Origins Chaos closing in. If it fills
Tonight.
If it fills tonight, we're rolling out another Origin. We're rolling out Origins Chaos too. We're gonna have to do it. So fill it up.
We're to light up a cigar.
Rookie. It's all about rookie talk in fantasy football right now. So why not go use all that knowledge to do something other than a mock draft? Chris Gimino won $8,000 with just 2 teams last year, and each draft took 5 minutes. That's pretty good ROI. You can start doing rookie drafts for money today on Fast Draft. The Origins tournament is live. It is the place to go and monetize your knowledge of rookies, and use your favorite Player Profiler host promo code for a $25 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the projections desk. Everybody's been asking for the projection here for Matthew Golden. And, I know that Alex was saying that he's the clear-cut number one of this offense, and I think the projection desk, he's slightly different here, at least for year one. It was a tough wide receiver core to start dissecting because there's a lot of mouths, as we said earlier. Another team, we have Jaden Reed still here. Christian Watson's coming off injury. We have Romeo Dobbs still here on the offense. We have Tavian Wicks, who they said is going to start taking another step forward. You still have 2 tight ends that they drafted last year. So there's a lot of things that they can do here. I am not set on him being the wide receiver one. We currently have him right now at 13.5% target share, kind of sliding into that Christian Watson role as he's going to be coming off of injury. They're going to need that speedster down the field. And this gives him about 70 targets. It gets him about 43.5 receptions, 608 yards. So we're going to see some pretty big gains here on the yards per reception. That puts him about 3.2 touchdowns. So may not be the projection a lot of people want to hear, but this is kind of a messy wide receiver room, and we're not entirely certain how it's going to break down right away. Golden definitely speedster, but I think he's going to have to earn some of his snaps here in year one, at least in the beginning.
Yeah, it's a crowded wide receiver room, as Billy mentioned. And even before the Golden pick, it was already crowded. None of those players that we had projected were 20% target share type of guys. So you add a first-round wide receiver like Matthew Golden, who has the 4.29 speed. This is the Christian Watson replacement. This is an indictment, not necessarily of Christian Watson's talent. We know that he is a extremely talented, athletic wide receiver who can win downfield, but with the late season ACL tear, that is part of the Packers scheme, is to win downfield, and they did not have that. The only player who was within the speed range of the scheme that the Packers want to roll out is Mecole Hardman. And Hardman, we know, not good at football. Not good at football. So Matthew Golden steps into this role. If you are drafting Matthew Golden for fantasy, he may have some spike weeks here or there. We've seen the spike weeks happen, the big plays. Whenever you have a player like that who has winning down the field, one of the things we did bump up for Golden was his yards per reception.
Yeah, he's got that 4.29 speed, 100th percentile. So it's a guy who's going to beat you down the field.
Absolutely. And Jordan Love, if he is healthy, that also is going to play a role in how effective Matthew Golden is going to be. It's possible that he takes over as the wide receiver one by the end of the season, but we cannot be confident going into week one that Matthew Golden is even going to be a top 2 wide receiver in terms of target share to start.
Yeah, the only thing that throws kind of the monkey wrench is the round 1 draft capital. The Packers are not known for spending a round 1 pick on a wide receiver.
That's true.
Think about all the years they had with Aaron
Javon
Rodgers,
Walker, the last wide receiver.
and all the
Packers.
years they could have given him a weapon, and they decided.
I think I was a child. I think I was, sipping milk from a bottle back when Javon Walker was drafted in the first round. That was Brett Favre days. That's a long time ago. So Javon Walker, was the last wide receiver. But when it comes
that's why Bradley's transitioned into beer. He's needed it.
I've got to, grow this out. But another part that I want, like us Packers fans shouldn't forget, is that Billy mentioned the tight ends. Tucker Kraft really stepped up last year as the tight end 1.
Still have Luke Musgrave.
But Musgrave has higher draft capital. They have a pretty similar profiles in terms of athleticism. Billy, you were big on Musgrave when he was drafted in round 2 just a couple years ago out of Bend, Oregon. Certainly a player that had a tough year last year in terms of staying healthy.
Injuries, yeah.
And so the issue is that you have 2 good tight ends. You have Wicks and Dobbs is a starter. Like, Golden is not going to come in and immediately push Dobbs out. Dobbs was suspended for a game last year internally and then came back and led the team in target share the next week. So the coaching staff loves Dobbs. They like what Reed can do in explosive plays. So
we might even see some more 12 personnel with both these tight ends healthy this year.
that would be disaster for fantasy. So Billy and I are offering concern that Golden
trepidation
may not be a consistent fantasy producer despite the first round draft capital that the Packers invested in tonight's draft.
Slow your horses, folks.
That's right. Slow the horses. But, we're going to pick up hard horses in the couch. Hey, couch, are you ready? No, they don't look ready. It's okay. We'll talk about Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart. So this is as great as this looks for, the Giants getting their youthful quarterback. From a number standpoint, it's not sexy, right?
No.
We still have Russell Wilson here. This is not going to be somebody who's going to slide in on week 1. We're not expecting that.
No.
We're looking at the projection here. I think we projected him for 7 games.
Yes.
And that takes him to roughly quarterback number 34. The biggest caveat here with Dart is going to be, when is he going to start?
Right.
And not knowing that right now, we're purely projecting and looking at what other teams have done in the past with their round 1 draft picks, and
especially this late.
You also have, they signed 2 free agents this offseason. Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson. So there's a lot of possibilities that they could go in year 1, and maybe they want him to sit back and learn a little bit more and start him off maybe a little slower than people want. And
this pick buys the GM another year.
It definitely buys another year, as they can look at it and say, hey, we're building for 2026. We're going to get him involved. We want him to learn behind Russell Wilson as the vet. We're going to let him, go out there and throw picks like Jameis Winston. No, I'm just kidding. But we definitely give him a little bit of time to sit and not rush him out in the field. And then now they can say, hey, we want to hit this hard in 2026. We have a plan. We want to get him on the field. We're going to take care of our young stud wide receiver. We're going to make some more changes on the offensive side of the ball, and we're going to start turning this team around.
Honestly, 7 games feels a little high, given that Russell Wilson is there and Jameis Winston is there. You could see Jackson Dart being a healthy scratch for the majority, if not the entire season. He just sits back. This is the Jordan Love situation again. Only Love was late round, first round draft capital. That fits. They want to do a reset here and the Giants.
We've talked so many times about other teams taking that mold what the Packers have done.
Yes.
Right. Especially these late round 1 draft pick quarterbacks, that they can sit there and just develop them and not rush them on the field. Like we've seen teams in the past who have just thrown their rookies out there.
Right.
Like the Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
Right.
Time and again.
Like, we're talking about Baker Mayfield.
The Jets.
The Jets. I mean, people have thrown out their rookie quarterbacks and they have struggled mightily as they adapt to the NFL speed, as they pick up, press coverage, they pick up all these different nuances of the NFL that's just faster, quicker, and harder. And so this is a good time for him to be able to sit down,
quicker, faster, and harder. All right. Speaking of quicker, faster, and harder, let's kick it to the couch.
We're on the couch. We're up. Big defensive run. Honestly, guys, let's just say it. Sanders is cooked. It's Jover.
I can't say it. I can't say it yet. I will not say it's Mahover until it's truly Mahover. We have a few more picks left. We have trades that are possible. However, it is looking more and more likely that he is going to be a 2nd-round pick, which is crazy. We've had the conversation here on the couch. Is Milroe going before Sanders?
It's highly likely.
It's not. There's more than 0% chance. Let's just say
he's
that.
At the draft. NFL called him there.
Browns love him. The Browns apparently love him. Tommy Rees has said nothing but glowing things about him. And then they can trade up right now if they want that 5th-year option with some of these teams like the Chiefs or whoever. Or they just stay put and then collect value and make the gamble of only having a 4-year player and dealing with that later and kicking the can down the road. It's a lot of those.
We've had the talk here, right, that the problem is Deion Sanders. Maybe.
Potentially. It's a factor.
And
maybe he's just an asshole, too. I think that's
but it's kind of like, I want my franchise quarterback. I don't care the baggage.
Well, if no one likes you on your team, you got what? You got a Bo Callahan, baby. No one's going. No one's going to his birthday party.
But Bo Callahan still gets a good ending. He still gets picked.
I guess, but it feels like it,
It's just I just think it's ridiculous. I think a lot of GMs that, especially the quarterback needy GMs, are going to be looking back in a few years and just lose sleep over passing on Shedeur Sanders.
I hope you're right. I have one Shedeur Sanders share in Dynasty that is holding on for dear life right now. So Matthew Golden, do we
Who's gonna
love it?
pick him though now?
Who?
Like Shedeur.
It could be anyone in the top at this point. It's not the Giants. Obviously, it's the Browns are the only team. And Tommy Rees is enamored by Jalen Milroe. So, I would think it's a better shot that Milroe gets picked before Sanders. The Steelers are still an option at this point. They could trade all the way up and get a guy. Clearly everyone hates him.
It just,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just sucks. It just
Yeah.
feels wrong.
Nepo
Jackson-
baby of the year.
Jackson Dart going to the Giants just feels like
Mhm.
Daniel Jones 2.0.
And the
maybe.
Lions pick is in. They're a team that needs a lot on the defensive line. James Pierce being gone, they got to be throwing their fists. I really like Arkansas defensive end and edge rushers. I like Ashton a lot if they want to wait. They need corner, and they drafted corner last year, but maybe they want even extra in the secondary. So it's interesting where they're going to go. Matthew Golden to the Packers.
That was a good one.
You know what?
Mm.
That's a golden pick.
It was a
Thank
golden
you.
pick.
I was trying to set you up, and he took it from me.
Yeah,
dog.
he did.
Oh.
I was getting to it. No, Matthew Golden to the Packers is a great pick.
Origins. Chaos.
Matthew Golden to the Packers, fantastic pick, of course. They need the wide receiver help. They've been broadcasting it time and time again. GM coming out time and time again saying we need to get more wide receiver help. So they get it in Golden. I want to ask the question. I'll ask you first, Jagger. We've had a few wide receivers taken. We've had Tet McMillan. We've had Emeka Egbuka. We've had Travis Hunter. Now we've had Matthew Golden. Who would you be taking first in your dynasty drafts?
Travis Hunter. It's not even close.
I would take Golden.
What?
I would take Golden.
Expand.
Expand. See, Reed has not been great. He had like 3
Okay.
good games. He's not good. And then the kid from North Dakota got injured. He's
Christian
not coming.
Watson.
Christian Watson. He's barely
not
even a
coming.
person at this point.
Yeah. And then yes, they have a good tight end. They have they have
Tucker Kraft and
Tucker
Luke Murphy.
Kraft and all those guys. Running back is hope. But I think Golden's going to be really good for them.
I do
And
agree.
Jordan Love throws a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree that Matthew Golden will be the one that ends up providing the most value. It's an interesting thing when we're talking about
Correct.
fantasy markets.
I feel like Golden would be really good in a redraft right now.
Yeah.
If it's a redraft, Golden for sure, compared to like
Mhm.
McMillan or Travis Hunter.
Mhm.
But I feel like maybe like Dynasty, yes, we can make an argument, but redraft, 100% Golden.
That's actually a great. That's not wrong.
100% on redraft. It's
Yeah.
Golden.
Yeah, redraft because I'm always in the dynasty brain at this point. At redraft, I can understand that. Do you have the pick early in here because you've been getting them quick for the Lions?
Nothing else.
Nothing for
Lions select Tyleek Williams.
From Ohio State.
Ohio State, Tyleek
That's,
Williams.
yeah, that is a great pick. And they, like I said, they've needed this. Once Aiden Hutchinson went down, we clearly saw that defense become an issue. They had to trade for a defensive end who's always problematic
Mhm.
and always he seeks a new team. So you get someone who's on a rookie contract right away to pair with someone else on a rookie contract. The Lions stay young, which is another important thing. I think this is an excellent pick.
Yeah, you really can't complain about it at all. It's one of those teams that basically has everything sorted. They're just going to, at this point, I would say really best player available outside of Shedeur Sanders. I mean, they obviously don't need the quarterback, arguably.
I
So you
think even
just
their
short that D-line.
secondary, they just paid Kirby Joseph. So they're kind of like
Mhm.
stocking up the secondary. So their D-line was the main issue.
Will Johnson falling too? Because secondary you're talking about, like it's. I know Cody Carpentier brought up. There's an injury that teams are concerned about.
That's a knee
I-
injury.
Yeah, I wonder just how serious it is because one thing, like he was a top 5 pick consensus early on, and now that he's not even in the first
He
round.
was the MVP essentially at the college
Mhm.
championship last year. for
Yeah,
Michigan.
exactly.
So-
Yeah, like a team is either getting a value or an injury liability because I think it's crazy that Malachi Starks went ahead in a world where you've got Will Johnson there.
Should we mention what the Falcons did? I feel like-
100%, because
it's
all right. So the value is good. It's a great pick. I'm not going to knock the pick at all, but giving up next year's first to me is a bit too much putting the cart before the horse. And I don't know if any of you agree with that, but I understand where they're going with it, but I think that they're getting too ahead of themselves.
I mean, they're under assumption that Michael Penix can take him there. And if they know what they have, I'm curious to why they waited so long. And if Michael Penix is as good as they think he is, Kirk Cousins has to be one of the biggest free agency busts ever. And you have to tell yourself that, like, Terry Fontenot, Terry Fontenot doesn't know what he's doing. Like, either way, no matter how you look at it, it's a Rorschach test of just how bad Terry Fontenot is kind of running that team at this point, because he's made some egregious and expensive mistakes.
I think he has some photos of Arthur Blank.
That's how he keeps his job. Yeah, he's got him black because it's just like, cool. Maybe you didn't think you're going to get Michael Penix, but almost everyone was surprised that he went that early, including NFL teams, because we saw that in the draft. Yeah, and it's like you said, I love James Pierce. I thought he was a top 10 pick, but edge kept getting deeper and deeper, especially when we got testing, and it just kind of pushed him down. But like you said, is Penix good? We just don't know. It's a crazy bet. So it's one of those, he's going to look like a genius or the biggest asshole on the planet.
I mean, this is probably Fontenot's last year anyway.
Let's just say.
And Arthur Blank, I feel like the last few years has been treating every year like it's his last year. So it's at some point it's going to catch up to this team. I really hope that it can come together. They have the pieces now. They get the linebacker. They get the defensive line. They have the offense. If Michael Penix is who they think he is, this should be a great year for them. It really should.
We felt the same thing last year. And it was a total disappointment.
Yeah, but the defense on paper now at this point adding two great talents in the first round does look better.
So what do you think the Falcons' success season is this year?
You have to win.
They have to win the division.
Yeah, they have to win the division.
They have to.
Right?
It's wide open every year, and we look at every one of these teams, with the exception of the Texans. The Texans have kind of risen to the cream of the crop there, but like every year, with the exception of last year, it's been fairly wide open, and it's been in their favor, and they fumbled the bag every time. So it's a very Falcons move to swing really hard. It's just like, are you going to get the dinger or is it going to be another miss?
Is this 28-3 again? We'll see. But I mean, the division at this point feels up to grabs, for grabs, as it has been. It's them and the Buccaneers. I still don't believe the Panthers are contenders, even with Ted, for this division this year.
Not even after what the team did towards the end of the season last year.
No, it's just the end of the year. It's just what happens at the end of the year for some of those bad teams, that it's just time to fight. The schedule works out for them. They get it together. But this year, it's the Falcons or it's the Buccaneers again. The Panthers will be fun. They'll put up points.
Yeah, Panthers are NFC, though, aren't they?
I think,
yeah.
To make up, they're going to trade Kirk Cousins for some 4th-round pick or a 5th-round pick just to do something.
Kirk Cousins is staying on the roster.
Come on.
Kirk Cousins is staying on the roster. They are accepting their mistake. They're not falling into any of this sort of sunken cost fallacy.
I think you underestimate how dumb the Browns are to trade for him.
Okay, but a 4th or 5th round pick just isn't enough for this team. They need them to take at least some of the contract. They are more than happy to have a high-level backup quarterback in case things go wrong with Penix. That was the same case with drafting Penix last year, as if things go wrong with Cousins, you have Penix. This year, it's completely flipped on its head. If things go wrong with Penix, you at least have Cousins. I know it's an expensive mistake, but sometimes you just have to swallow those expensive mistakes and just play ball.
$100 million is more than expensive.
It is, but just play ball.
Not a Deshaun Watson contract.
I mean, the Broncos swallowed 40-something million for Russell Wilson last year and made the playoffs with Bo Nix. So, it is what it is. The money in this league is fake.
By the way, the Commanders pick is in. Mm-hmm. They're picking Josh Connerly.
Josh Connerly. Is that a tackle?
Yeah.
Oregon. Yeah. That's actually a surprise pick because I thought they could almost go anywhere else. and it be more exciting. But I think this is a smart pick because like they traded, like we're seeing right now, Laramie Tunsil. Unfortunately, they got Debo Samuel. They lost chicken on there.
Whoa.
Let's just say what it is.
Whoa, I love Debo.
But in the second round, they could still get a quality back to pair with Brian Robinson, even though a lot of people think that he's replaceable talent, and I agree. It's something.
I think they need a running back, maybe in the second round.
It's Josh Connerly, offensive tackle.
Listen, my
Yeah.
take for any offensive line pick is sure, go for it. I'm not upset about it. You have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm going to leave it. It's a fine pick. It helps out Jaden Daniels. It helps out the offense. It helps out the team.
Mm-hmm.
They have to protect Jaden Daniels no matter what.
Yeah.
That's like the golden goose for them right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they do need a good running back though.
Yeah.
They don't need a good running back.
This is a great question from Max. Podfather is tall as hell. This is actually true. 3 years now at this draft house. He is tall. It's confirmed, Max. So thank you for chiming in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time to send it over to the projections desk as they have some thoughts over here.
Oh, hey, it's just Bradley. Billy is stepped out for a moment. John Adams in the background. Say hi to the people, John. Yeah, John works on the website, so shout out to John. He does great work with the website, the podcast, all the things that you don't see, you don't hear about John doing all the work. But shout out to John. He does amazing work. We love John Adams, the second president of the United States of America here. A couple of things that are on my mind in terms of reactions and players that are still available. A player that we were hoping would get mocked here that was getting, some first round buzz was Travion Henderson. I had him mocked to the Broncos at 20. There had been conversations about Travion Henderson being a 32nd overall pick. That's still, or 31st for the Chiefs. That is possible. We see at 29, the Commanders select Josh Connerly, offensive tackle. And the Commanders, they address the offensive line with Laramie Tunsil, the trade for the left tackle from the Texans. So they're really pushing chips in for this year. And this is what you do if you're the Commanders. You trade for Debo Samuel. You try to squeeze one more year out of Samuel. You have an aged Terry McLaurin. You have this offensive line that is beefed because you know that Jaden Daniels is under rookie contract for the next couple years, and he's less expensive. This is how you can pay for a Tunsil. You can pay for a Debo Samuel. In baseball, for those who are following baseball, this is the rentals. These are the 1 year rentals or the short-term rentals that kind of can relieve your cap later on when you have to pay for the bigger players. So this is a wild time. But when we look at where Travion Henderson could be going, he had a virtual call 2 days ago with the Chiefs, and he is still possible. It's still on the board. The Bills and Chiefs and Eagles have yet to pick in this first round. We're running out of positional players. Shedeur Sanders is certainly still on the board. Evidently, there's been a lot of chatter in the streets about Shedeur Sanders and how he was, a top 7 pick on Mel Kiper's board. But most people were viewing him as a back end first round, beginning of the second round type of pick, that it was within the range of outcomes that Shedeur Sanders falls outside of the first round. And this is something that the drumbeat had been continuing. Some NFL scouts had Sanders outside of round 1, saying that they were going to round 2. So yeah, this is a tough look for Shedeur Sanders. The pick is in for the Buffalo Bills. We'll see if we get an update here for the Buffalo Bills. Yes, we got some news though, not from the Bills, but from the Giants. Former Bills offensive coordinator Brian Dable, the head coach for the Giants, said that he made it clear in his press conference that Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants, despite the fact that Jackson Dart is getting that first round draft capital. So we see this is the move. This is the move. Billy and I were talking about a couple minutes ago that Jackson Dart is probably going to sit. He's probably going to sit for a while. And this is probably best for his development. When we've seen these quarterbacks not need to start right away, when they don't get the draft capital or don't have the reps or don't have the experience, them sitting for a while is good for their development. And with Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson ahead of Dart and the depth chart, yeah, this is good for his development. So we want that. Good. All right. We're going to take it back to the main desk here in just a moment. Shout out main desk. How we doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great, Bradley. You're excellent, by the way. People love you. The stream loves Bradley.
I love Bradley.
He was carrying that. No Billy, doesn't matter. No Billy, no problem.
I think he has 9 children already.
Who?
Bradley.
Well, they both have a lot of. This is a very fertile household we have here.
It feels like it.
It is.
A lot of.
How many kids do you
people
have?
here
You have
with
multiple kids.
Multiple.
Yeah, you have multiple.
Technically.
Yeah, fertile. Fertility's big, dude. Listen, I'm slipping in the mock draft contest. Admittedly, I haven't had any picks right in a while. I'm live though. I'm very live. I just want to give my final 3 picks here. I'm very live. Will Johnson to the Bills, Josh Simmons to the Chiefs, Mason Taylor to the Eagles. Any of those come in, I'm gonna go wild.
I think that Josh Simmons to the Chiefs is super, super live, especially now with Connerly off the board. The Bills pick, no one's tipped it yet. Do you know what it is?
Trade up?
The Eagles trade up? To
Up
where?
Up or out? What's the Bills pick?
Come on,
Okay,
man.
yeah, this guy, I love this guy on the stage.
Come
He's
on,
getting the
this kid
crowd
right here
going.
is trying to get the crowd
This
pumped
kid's
up.
getting the crowd going. I love it. It's a big crowd. I'm so glad we're in Florida, not Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
We're about to, dude.
All due respect to Wisconsin.
We're about to go fishing.
We're about to catch some fish, man. Like Matt found the fishiest spot in all of Florida. You can't throw a live shrimp out there without something biting. Hairston goes.
The Buffalo Bills
Okay.
select cornerback, fastest man from the combine, 4.28 running Maxwell Hairston.
Maxwell Hairston. I had him going in the first round. Do you guys have him going first round?
I did not.
I did.
I did as
I
well.
did not.
So I get a
took
point.
him off, and I took him off at the. God,
Are you
man,
gonna? Where are you gonna finish in the mock draft contest? My God,
probably mid?
You know what's
Low.
you know what stinks too for Alex? It's unfortunate because he's been doing. How many years you been doing this now?
Oh, you're
10.
You're not.
So
doing
Alex has been doing this for 10 years, and he's going to lose his biggest score of all time.
My second place from the Clyde Edwards-Helaire year. If in that year, if Clyde would not have gone with the 32nd pick in that draft, I would have won the Huddle Report. But so that one drops off, and so yeah, it's like I'll probably fall from now where I'm what am I ranked right now? 28 out of 75,
Just ahead of Daniel Jeremiah.
just ahead of DJ. I'm gonna fall to a
Where-
middling.
Where am I? Most importantly,
You're not on here because this is the 5-year total.
oh, the 5-year total. Okay,
5-year total.
let's get an update on this year.
This year. This year's total. I'm
Okay,
at
who's in first?
Well,
Let's give him credit.
Nick Jacobs from KSHB TV.
Is smashing whoever
Nice
that guy
job.
is.
50 pointer.
KSHB
Nice
TV.
job.
Where's that from?
I don't know.
Kentucky South High School Ballerina Television.
I mean, Hairston was at the draft. You had to put him in your draft. You had
So
to
he's
put him
at
in your mock.
50 there. I think I'm at 38, 37, 38. Zerline's at 38. Matt is at 30. What are you at? 36? 36 right here. And then Alex is at 34. Band is at
Yeah.
35.
And I'm moving to 37 because I have Hairston.
At least I'm ahead of Mike Band.
I just don't have Hairston in the right. I at
We're
least
both
have
gonna
Hairston in
get
the
Mike
first
Band.
round.
At least I'm ahead of Mike Band, and I still am a little bit.
So
No,
so the Eagles
What
traded
with
up
the
one
Eagles-
pick. They traded up one pick
do I?
by trading up. The Chiefs pick 164 in the 5th round.
Why would the Eagles trade up one pick?
It's got to be a. This is
Think
a how.
so.
This is Howie though.
Is he trading up to take Josh Simmons?
If he trades up and snipes Josh Simmons from the Chiefs, because I have Josh Simmons to the Chiefs. This is
that what
big
he's
for me in
doing?
the mock draft contest.
Who
Will
else?
This
Johnson.
is huge.
Has to be Will Johnson.
Well, I have Will
Do
Johnson
you-
going first round.
Are you that worried that the Chiefs are taking Will Johnson?
No.
Why would the
I'm-
Chiefs take Will Johnson?
I'm worried that the Chiefs are taking Josh Simmons.
Yeah, but where's Josh Simmons fit with the Eagles? They got.
But wait, did they trade with the Chiefs?
Yes, they flip picks.
Who do they take?
They took Campbell.
The Eagles took Jihad Campbell. Daniel Jeremiah put that in his mock draft.
No way.
He did.
That's great.
Hmm.
DJ does it again. DJ does it again. We're on air.
I don't think that they were gonna. I don't think that the Chiefs were gonna take him.
Why you trade up for him?
He's a no.
Hey man, look, dude, you can't hit the home run every single time, man. Howie Roseman, beautiful mind. It might
Did
been a
anyone
little
have
bit-
Jihad outside the first round? Because I at least had him in the first round, so I get a point.
We both had him out.
We both had him out.
Oh, I gained another point on you guys.
You
Yeah.
did.
You
Oh,
gained a point.
baby, this is good. The Podfather's doing well.
Yeah, man.
Dude, if the Chiefs
The Chiefs are going to take Josh Simmons.
get Josh Simmons,
They're gonna
then
take
I'm
him.
in great shape.
They're,
Wait,
they're-
so you got
they're
that.
gonna
So what are
take
you
him.
up to now?
I got a couple points, so now I'm up in like the 37.
Wait, hold up. So hold up. Time out. This could be big because you're at 37,
I think I'm at 37.
and if you get Simmons here, that gives you 39,
That's right.
and I have 38, and I don't have the hit. So, but Simmons would give me 39, so it'd be a tie.
Unless,
tie, it would be a tie.
unless
That would
somebody,
be great.
unless there's some kind of trade up with the Chiefs and the Chiefs trade down.
Or the Browns trade up because they think they need to but because they want to get the 5th-year option for Shador.
Then we both have that though.
Then we both have that too.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we both have that too because we have the Browns getting Shador trade up. That's the only way that happens.
Yep.
I mean, he's
Well-
33rd overall. I know we're probably going to can this thing as soon as we're done, but like, just a quick thought on tomorrow. Shador's going to be 33, right?
Yeah.
The Browns have Travis Hunter. No, they don't. Oh my gosh.
Why did you say that?
The Browns
Dude,
don't. They don't have Travis Hunter.
That's too many.
It's-
You've been doing
it's-
too many mock drafts.
It's so, dude. It's so ingrained in our mind
Yeah.
that we just do these. Cody and I do a show every day on the Rosterwatch YouTube channel. Every single day, we've done so many mock drafts, so many of them. It's just ingrained in his head that Travis Hunter's a Cleveland Brown.
He's a Brown. Yeah,
It's just you just default to that.
it's a default. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Oh my gosh.
Origins. Chaos.
It just randomly drops in.
It is chaos,
Yeah, and it's gonna fill very soon.
dude.
Circling 90% full already. It was supposed to be.
I just finished drafting a team.
I know. Who'd you get?
I got Mekek Buka. I got Jalen Knoll, Jalen Royals, Torrey Horton, Quinn Ewers, and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Not my favorite team.
That
of all
team
time.
is that team's gonna finish about like Thor Nystrom in the
Dead.
photo report.
That team is
That's not the thing. Is I auto picked three of
that-
those selections.
Okay, just if you don't get at least 2 running backs, you can't win.
I'm aware. I sat here on a show and I auto.
I mean, that team is really bad.
I also took a Buka over Tet, which I won't do in a 2020.
Oh my god,
5 seasonal draft.
Wow, that's a
So,
painful team.
Again, not a good
You see,
team here.
this is why you draft in Origins.
BMF.
Because you're
You
drafting
get to
against
go-
some of these
you get to
guys.
go
BMF,
against- you
burning
get
money
to go-
fast, burning money fast.
You go against donks like this. It's terrible.
Unreal.
Terrible
Do
draft.
we got is the pick in yet for these Kansas City? The Eagles technically on television don't even have it in yet.
The pick is in for the Eagles. We know that.
Do we have like so closing thoughts? Right, we're gonna probably do this final pick. We'll be out. We've been going for 3.5 hours now, 4
Yeah.
hours. So any what's the biggest? We zoomed through all these selections and we talk about them for a second here and there. But really, what's the biggest takeaway here from round one?
The biggest takeaway is if I were to redo my mock, I would go realized that by far and away the strongest position in this class was D-line,
which we knew,
and edge, which we knew. All these guys were going high.
Yep.
Okay. So Mason Graham, higher than we thought. It's like all these guys, every single, if I go to every Walter Nolan, I got that right. There's a bunch of Derek Harmon, most of these D linemen higher than we thought. Why? Because it's the premium position, and the NFL has a big board,
especially this year,
and they're gonna go with and they're not just going. In years past, maybe a position might get drafted even if it didn't have first round grade. The NFL is a little more disciplined. You have teams like the Steelers that don't have a quarterback, and they're just going with best player available. They're just going with what's on their board. And this was not something you saw 10 years ago across the board like this. It's just that's my takeaway here is like, if you believe in a player, like if I, in the future, like a Tet McMillan, don't let the noise get you off Tet McMillan, and don't just assume because, quarterback or there has to be X number of this position drafted in most drafts that's going to happen. The way to really ace this draft as a mock drafter would have been to just leave out a lot of these offensive players, because it's not just Shador. It's
Simmons.
It's
Travion.
Right. It's Travion. It's Mason Taylor. There's a lot of offensive players that I had going first round that are just not going to go first round. If I had just said, hey, this is a strong year for defense, load up the defense in the first round, it doesn't have to be hard sometimes.
Yeah, but what you realize, Matt, is you do this huddle report competition every year. It's actually very, very hard every time.
Kenneth Grant.
It's very
just
hard every
push
time.
These guys up, man.
It's still very hard. And like, if you have these ideas, you should do what I did last year at this time and send yourself a note. Find out, like, we can look up and find out when next year's draft is. And you can send yourself a note on Wednesday before, set with these reminders to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did last year. And what I did was I sent myself those reminders. And, I honestly kind of didn't even stick by them, even though I reminded myself of them. So
yep.
I get it. I think my biggest takeaway is just Ashton Genty, RB4 in fantasy.
Oh God.
I mean, that's the biggest takeaway of the night.
And the other takeaway is that Najee Harris is dead man walking.
Dude,
Najee Harris, it would have been so much better
if you
off.
went out and traded for him in Dynasty thinking he's going to do like,
even if it was Trevion. But that's the thing. If it was Trevion, there's a path for him to get a bunch of touchdowns. Now that it's Hampton, it's over.
It's an all-around running back. It's not just a guy that could be a compliment.
And I had Hampton going to the Chargers because he just looked like a Harbaugh running back.
Pick is in for the Chiefs. Do we know who it is?
If it's Simmons,
I think it's going to be Simmons.
G.I. Campbell did go to the draft, so that was a bit of a give. Did Simmons go to the draft?
No, he opted out last minute.
But they invited him.
Correct, but he opted out.
Simmons was invited.
Like literally this week he opted
and he opted out.
Dude, honestly, Matt, I would say you're like minus like 450 to get Josh Simmons here.
Yeah.
If I get Josh Simmons here, so Cody and I'll be tied.
Yep.
And we'll have dominated you in the mock draft contest.
Just like we're about to dominate you in fishing outside.
No, we're not. He's the best fisherman.
Shut up. Let us have our win.
He is clearly, you can say what you want. He's the best fisherman.
I know. Let us have our win, though.
He's really good.
We got to pile on.
You're really bad at getting hooks out of the mouths and the nets.
Who, me?
Cody, you're really ham-handed with that.
I
feel bad for the fish.
I have fat fingers.
I feel bad for the fish.
Don't feel bad for that fish. We got him back.
And the pick is in. Pick 32 in the
Oh my
2025 NFL Draft. First round is complete by the Kansas City Super Bowl runner-ups. Josh Simmons, left tackle, Ohio State Buckeyes.
Is it?
Stop it.
Is it?
Stop it.
I cannot believe. I can't.
Stop it.
We'll just leave it with this. The fact that Josh Simmons.
Yep.
Yes! Yes!
Matt Kelly dominated his
Oh,
whole.
God! Oh, boy.
Had Simmons not had a torn patellar tendon,
my
He could have.
he could have been the fourth
mock.
overall pick.
Yep.
Oh, my
All right.
first mock. How
I'm
does
done.
it feel, guys?
I'm going to fish. You guys have fun, man.
Oh, man. We did it. We did
Click
it.
that like button. Click subscribe. Tomorrow
Oh.
night we'll be back.
Yes. Like,
Round-
subscribe.
Round 2 and 3.
Share everything. We need to get the hell out of here at some point. There is an end screen that we play. And we say good night to you, player profiler audience. Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you, allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.
J42 Shrek.